This is Q Talk America.
The following broadcast contains adult humor, language, and topics, along with partial nudity. Actual knowledge is used sparingly. The show is a result of a lost bet and a bad game of rock, paper, scissors. It's the show with Clayton McKee. And now, a man with a face for radio, Clayton McKee.
Well, good evening. It is 7 o'clock. It's Tuesday night. We are coming to you live from the Q Talk America studios located in Central Phoenix, right here in what I like to call Q Talk Plaza, even though there's no sign, we don't pay any licensing fees. I just named it that.
That's fine. It's a good name.
I liked it. I thought it was fun for me. This is the show. We come to you each and every Tuesday night, like it or not, 7 to 10, right here from Q Talk America. I am Clayton McKee, your humble host. Thank you for being here. Along with us for this journey into God knows what this week is always with us, Katie June.
Hi.
Hi, Katie.
How are you?
Also, Alf Perkins.
Well, good morning.
He's here, and our special guest in studio, Marnie, by the way. Marnie is celebrating a 2-year anniversary with her and Ernie, as Al likes to call her. Erin.
Yeah. So sweet.
So
she's very kind of me, yes.
Our in-studio guest this week in the lovely understated red and turquoise shirts is Deon Brown from Ion AZ Magazine. Hi.
Hi. Thank you very much. Long-time friend, first-time guest.
Long time, first time.
Well, now, truth be known, we've all known each other for quite some time, but I think the actual history goes further back. You and Al have known each other since, oh my gosh, how long?
Since I was a teenager.
Stop it.
Boy.
Teenager?
Oh, yeah.
What?
I mean, you're one of those people that I've just, like Renee and Doug, that I just met that first summer I lived out here and just was like, okay, that's Deon. Like,
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
we
we
were a
did-
teenager.
yeah.
Do you remember the meeting, Deon? Because it seems a little more fuzzy with you.
No,
than
it's
Al.
it's really fuzzy. I'm just guessing because I was trying to think of that.
It's a lot of vodka under the bridge.
I was just because the first clear place I can picture you is at Mike and Darren's bachelor party at AZ88.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Like, and that's 91, so that's 22 years. But I know I had known you. I mean, I wasn't like, and this is Deon. Like,
You guys weren't
It's been a
palling
long
around.
time. It's been a
but
long
there
time.
was. I mean, there was so many parties and so many bars, and everybody. You just followed a circle of like.
Sure.
Wednesday night was BS West. Thursday
Yeah.
night was
Oh,
Newtown.
yeah.
Like you
We all
went from
did
drink
that.
special to, or Tuesday night was Newtown. You went drink special to drink special, and we were all there. But Renee and I were in the car putting on makeup. That was the problem. Like
Spending most of the evening not making it into the bar.
we were completely
place
trashed,
to
but
be.
we were putting on eyeliner and
Right.
mascara.
This-
And then by the time we finally wandered in,
Party
You were
was
passed
over.
out on the
Yeah.
floor.
Party
It
was over, yes.
it was mostly after our party because we know all the exact same people.
Oh, yeah. Of
course you do.
Yeah, since the
And then,
dawn
you
of
know,
time.
Then when you were...
You're
Cocktail waiting.
at BS West for a decade.
For a decade. It's supposed to be one night.
Poor Al. Then Al made the mistake of giving me his email address when after I was unceremoniously dumped by Stephen Armstrong, the man who ruined my life.
No, we are off and running.
And Valentine's Day forever. Luckily, I still have flashbacks from Valentine's Day
Wow.
from his breakup.
And
Near the crane machine.
And, you know, daily emails that were pages long.
Oh, I'm sure-
And then I saw him, and then he looked at me. And then I said, "Don't you look at me."
Well, I'm sure you were burning up American Online for me.
A love affair lost
You've got
near
mail.
next to a plush toy crane machine.
Right.
It's one of those things they never covered on Sex and the City, like
That's awesome.
like getting broken up with on a post-it or on an email message next to a plush toy crane machine.
That's the truth. That is the truth.
Wow, where was it? Was it at a Denny's?
No, at BS West.
I forgot about
The
that.
skill crane. Yeah.
That usually had Ginger, the old lady, standing there winning.
I forgot about that machine.
And she would win the stuffed animals for people to give to their dogs to chew on. I mean, it was the kind
she
of
was a
shit that should be
giver.
out of a sitcom, but unfortunately it was my life.
And then the dogs would get sick from whatever the plushies were stuffed with. And
Exactly.
China.
Whatever fiber, whatever mystery thing.
I know I've said it 100 times, only because I've heard the story. One of my favorite stories about you, that's why I referred to it today on Facebook. You used to drive a Ford Torino car.
1973 Ford Grand
And
Torino.
Grand
Right, but
Torino.
this is back when you were at ASU, correct? When you met Doug and so forth. And I don't remember the full story, but somebody said to you something about your car. Oh, you drive a Torino, and you're like, no, it's a Grand Torino,
Not the Petite Torino.
No, the Grand
Torino.
Oh my gosh, Grand Torinos are cool.
I like how
You know what?
Katie
It was such
Googles
a-
everything.
Everything. I'm a big Googler.
Just well, that way you're up to
This
date.
was the four-sort sedan. It wasn't the cute.
Oh,
This
wasn't
wasn't like the sexy
the
muscle
muscly.
car.
No.
It was the
Yeah.
four-door. It was the four-door. What color?
It was kind of a medium green, the metallic. But it was like a block and a half long. It had like, you could see the tail end of it when you were turning a corner.
Now, if I'm not mistaken,
I had
a
a-
two-door version of that car was what Starsky and Hutch drove.
Yeah, it's really
But the
cool.
four-door version
Was what your grandmother drove.
Yeah.
was what Deon
On your
Brown-
way home to watch Starsky and Hutch.
But you know what? It had bench seats. A great make-out car.
Oh,
I never got to make out in
And
it,
it was
though.
full
But
on-
I imagine that
Yeah,
it would
I
have
imagine I would have made lovely babies in it.
I'm sure it was.
My parents had, and I got it for a while. I had it for a while. An '81 Delta '88 that was green. That was
Oh, wow.
a full size motherfucker. And
Yes.
seats about 20. Every time I heard Love Shack, I'm like, oh, I drove that car. It was so big, but that was perfect for
11 or 12 doors.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sex was easy in the back seat. Like nobody had to be limber. Stretch out. We'll just put your one leg here and the other leg in the pantry. You'll be fine.
Those were the days.
Those are the days.
Oh, my
There
head.
was even a cigarette lighter in them, too.
Yes.
Oh, before we had to charge things like cell phones and Discmans, they used them for actual cigarettes, from what I understand.
Oh,
And
and a full
ashtray.
And a full ashtray because my
And they're-
dad drove it back and forth to work, so that ashtray was always full.
Oh, your dad I didn't know your dad was a smoker. I
Oh,
guess I forgot
Jesus,
that
yeah.
somehow.
Yeah.
Wow. Any of you, were you a smoker, Deon? Ever?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I still battle the demon
Oh,
nicotine.
do you? Do you?
It's like I'm like a social smoker.
Okay.
I'm like really ashamed
Those
to
people,
admit
I
this.
only drink I only smoke when I drink. I understand. I mean, I've heard of I don't understand because I've never done it, but I've heard that millions of times.
But I know what's funny. Like I just had to like picture you in a bar, and I'm like, yeah, he smokes once in a while.
It's
But
like,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You
I
gotta-
can't lie my way out of this.
You gotta
one.
put you gotta put yourself like, okay, now picture the bar. He's got his vodka cranberry splash of 7.
Yeah.
Oh, you are good.
wow,
You are
no!
good.
Did you just call out his beverage?
And there was
Yeah, 'cause
like
now I'm picturing
the
him in the
wheels
bar,
are
so-
turning. Like you were recreating that whole scene in your mind just now.
Wow,
That's
right.
good, Al.
In drag as Betty
And
Davis.
smoker.
Pack of
Well,
Marlboro
and when you
Lights,
could smoke in
hard pack.
bars, because it's been a really long time. that you
Yeah,
could-
it was just after I left working in bars.
Which was like, when was
06.
that?
Bad timing.
Okay,
It was
yeah.
like 2 weeks later in 06.
You're like,
Yeah.
damn it!
Because were you a smoker? Never a smoker.
But we all
And I have a horrible reaction to it. Like I have so much trouble breathing, and
But what
Yeah.
what we all used to experience, and I don't think you. Well, I don't actually think you ever went through this because of your youth. We all. I mean, you knew what clothes you came home from the bar the night
Oh,
before.
Jesus, yeah.
Because and working at Winks, though they had an exhaust fan that nobody
they
liked.
did not.
Nobody liked to run it for some reason. But that was just a cinder block full of smoke.
I will list the offenders. Winks, that smoke eater was never cleaned. Never.
probably not.
Never. They have a TV
And
in
even
front of
if
the
they
smoke
did,
eater
who
at
cared?
Roscoe's. No, we had the smoke eater at BS West cleaned. Those 2 smoke eaters were cleaned every Monday, and I wrote the check. Like not
Yeah,
by
well,
personally, but I forged Eddie McNeil's name.
Of course.
But those things got cleaned every week, and that's why I couldn't bartend. That's why mostly I was a cocktail waitress, because behind the bar I couldn't get away from the smoke. You were
really?
blowing the smoke right in my face, and by the end of the night I was 6. But at the tables I could walk,
Right.
and if you started smoking,
leave.
I could either stand behind you, like I
Right.
would I would get away from the smoke somehow.
I think it's a wonderful, wonderful.
Oh, and I-
Oh my god, I love
The
it.
two
the
things-
doors were
Genius.
always open. Everyone was always bitching about the heat. I'm like, oh no, kids, we need cross ventilation in this motherfucker.
Right, absolutely, absolutely, and it's the same thing. I mean, I deal with it still on Charlie's patio because though it's outside, there's
it's-
not
it's-
enough
It's
venting.
enclosed.
covered.
Yeah, it's enclosed.
Right,
That's
it's not enough venting.
unless you're actually playing volleyball. That
Oh, we're
You
working.
can't smell the
We are
smoke
working
bullshit.
hard on cementing that shit in. Trust, we are pushing everything we can to get him to do that. Just because there's no point. Nobody. It's not even regulation size. Who fucking cares? Don't. We have 4 people show up to drink water that don't contribute to the revenue of the bar.
right.
Oh, you're trying to get rid of the volleyball court?
Well, it's a goal of ours and a lot of other people on staff.
Yeah.
The owner hasn't bought in yet, but we're hoping.
When
But
time out on
that's
that-
a nice novelty then, because then what is
It
it? It's
is.
just one more piece of concrete.
I
At least-
like the sand, although one time a cockroach crawled across my foot. That happened. Yeah,
Oh,
on,
that's-
on the sand. Now, That has also happened in my backyard and one time in my bathroom.
Nice recovery, Katie.
Well, no, I'm saying they're everywhere, but it freaked me out. And it was like sandy, and so I felt like I was... If I'm inside of a bar, I'm feeling more safe because I'm indoors, and that's not going to happen. Right. But like outside, I saw a roach, and I was...
No, but I think it was proven. We do several outdoor events, and this past weekend was the Saguaro Cup softball tournament. Teams from all over the country are here. The week prior to that was Pride, and you just realize that so many people. It's all plywood at this point, covered over, but that's where people want to be. They want to be outside, the smaller area of the patio.
Right. Let them be outside in this weather. Yeah.
And built. Well, I don't care. We'll go to Home Depot. We'll buy that shade covering screen shit and put over it. I am fine. I'll hang it myself, but. You look at the yard on 7th Avenue across from the old Winks, the old
really good point.
Yep. That patio is phenomenal. Yeah. Phenomenal.
It's a really good
Smoke
patio.
all you want. You're not gonna bug me because it's just gonna blow away and be fine.
Yeah.
The crappy restaurant I went to yesterday, the patio was delightful. Like it was all.
They always had a delightful patio.
You could see where it could. It seemed slightly different but then again, the last time I was there was for my 40th birthday for. When it was N32.
Just 2 years ago?
Just 2 days ago. But you could see... Oh, and Harrison sent me a birthday card today. Thank you. It's not my birthday. But it was a funny card.
Good, because I kind of felt like a dick all of a sudden.
But it hit all like the windows and doors that it could be like a glassed in Arizona room, or it hit like...
their patio.
Last night was a lovely breeze, and it was beautiful out there. It seemed more finished. I felt like the old patio didn't have all the walls around it. Like... I felt like the old patio was inclement weather. You just went inside, not...
Yeah, it kind of was. I did remember that.
Well, it had like the half walls.
Yeah, no, and this is all the way...
It's totally
covered.
Demi-walls, little demi-walls.
Yeah, thank you.
It sounds like one of those insults, like, both oars aren't in the water. It's like, patio doesn't have all 4 walls.
Our patio doesn't have all 4 walls.
Wow.
That is funny.
Oh, my heavens. Well, briefly, let's catch up. We only have just a couple minutes. Katie, you had a good week?
I had a great week.
Good. How is what's going on with fertility? What's going on with fertility?
We go again next month.
Okay.
So I had to go to my doctor's today. Took 2 hours of my life. This is why I just sometimes want to punch doctors in the face. 2 hours out of my day with my child who was like at nap time, and they pulled me back in, and he goes, well, showed me exactly what I thought it was. Here's the result. Everything's good. We'll see you next month. That couldn't have been done on the telephone. Yeah. Like just that, maybe a nurse could have called me. Like anybody. Maybe
I'll even send you the $15 copay.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's all you want. If that's all you want is the copay in the bill, then bill it and call me.
The one thing that I was thinking, I wonder if it's because
I'll play along with the lie.
Yes, is because but what if it's bad news, right? So then I feel that's what I was thinking. They have to call everybody in
because in an overly cold room and have a discussion with you.
Yes, but if it's God forbid it's bad news, and then every time it's good news, they tell you on the phone, and then all of a sudden they say we need to see you in the office. Then it's like, oh my God, I'm dying tomorrow. Anyway, everything's good.
So they're always going to tell you further tests are necessary. They're never going to say you have cancer. They're going to say further tests are necessary. You got to come in for more. They're never going to. And even if they could figure out something the first day, there's got to be 4 more tests they can bill you for before they. I'm sure there's
before they really get you in
check.
The program. Yeah. Right.
Have you ever had bad news delivered to you at the doctor's office? That.
I have not. No,
I can tell you from firsthand experience. When my father died, they called us. We went to he had like this massive heart attack, and he was like kind of alive when he left the house in the ambulance.
Oh my God!
Kind of like Al was today.
We weren't really thinking that a whole lot was going to change. My mother prepared us for the worst, so they take us into the hospital, in a room that is about as big as your bathroom, with 2 folding chairs in it. And nurses periodically would look through the doorway and look kind of aghast, and then they'd scurry away. Then finally a doctor comes and says, I'm afraid I have some bad news for you. Your father's dead.
Oh my God, and he just leaves?
And he leaves.
Oh.
Or your father's no longer with. I don't know how he couched it, but there was no big cushy room with oak paneling and a leather
lovingly appointed
plush
field with fresh flower.
What hospital was this? I have a guess.
This was at Tempe St. Luke's.
Oh, that was guess number 2.
Wow, good.
And they were just sort of like, oh, well,
guess what? Your dad's dead. We'll
Don't
see
take
ya.
sick people to Tempe St. Luke's.
Yeah, the exit
even when there's no hope.
It's right down the hall. Yeah, we'll see ya.
Then they have the death lady come in, and she's like, I'm very sorry for your loss. We have some decisions that need to be made.
God, we talked about this, Deon, last week a little bit at the end of the show and then afterward.
Yeah,
and
while we were all drunk and sappy.
I know. I was like in tears.
Because you know how these conversations go. 90 minutes after alcohol is served.
But it was but we were talking about like having to go through that.
Well, I'll tell you, it is not like it happens on Dynasty where there's the big cushy room with the leather furniture.
You really wanted that room.
Shoulder pads.
And a shoulder to cry on.
No.
Extra large shoulder
or
pads.
hotel or Knots Landing or any soap. No, it's a cold little room with folding chairs and fluorescent lighting.
Nobody looks good in fluorescent.
No.
Notice we have incandescent lighting in the
And
studio
I like
here.
that.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Also, can our viewers? Hi.
Yes.
At home.
Hi.
So the doctor says, everything's fine. Have a nice day.
Good.
He's talking to you.
Oh, yes. I'm like, you did say that. That's really lousy. Missed
I
that.
was trying to get
It's
back
just
on
like
task.
like a whole vodka drink so far. Like one whole vodka drink.
I guess we'll
only
probably,
15 minutes in.
I guess really the reality is we'll know when you're pregnant when you stop drinking.
You will.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that's the thing is that it's not going to be like, I'm not going to be able to have that big surprise because I'm pregnant, because I will just like
walk into the bottle of Avion and we'll go, she's knocked up.
Yeah, something's happening over here.
Yeah.
Well, I had two friends that were trying to get pregnant, and they weren't talking about it a lot. And I never know when the right time is to ask, because if there's a way to phrase something badly, it's going to come out of my mouth.
Oh, I'm
so
next in line for
I
that.
would just wait at a restaurant to see if they ordered
Oh, that's so funny.
cocktails or sodas, and then I'd be like, "So it's a soda? What's up?" You know what I mean?
Right.
But then you still don't want to ask because they're kind
Like,
of
what do you
early.
mean? I'm not an alcoholic. I drink soda all the time. Yeah.
And now I work with a lot of women, and so a lot of those things go wrong.
Oh,
And
that's the only bad thing that is
Yeah.
that I'm really, really open with all of my friends and everybody, all the ships at sea, about what's happening in my uterus. And so the only bad thing is that everyone will know when it happens, because
The
I
one
will
with the view.
I will naturally be making some
Yeah.
lifestyle changes,
Oh,
right?
sure.
And then that's the only problem, is you really never want to actually say it out loud until you're at like 12 weeks.
12 weeks, right?
So-
at least.
Whoa.
And some people wait if they've had a problem. Some
Oh
people
my
wait
gosh,
even
yeah.
long. They wait till they're like actually showing, and then you have to like 2 lunches. Like, what's going on? Because you don't want you think you can. That's why I
it's
say, so
bad.
my rule now with women, until they hand me the baby and make me say something to it, I will not discuss a pregnancy. Like, it is off the table.
And that's fine, Katie. If you want to do it that way, we don't have to discuss this anymore at all.
Oh no, I will.
We'll let it go. and
No,
you
I
can-
talk about it all the time.
All right.
I will
Well,
continue
you
to
brought up
update you.
STDs from Nantucket, so we're good times. Mr. Brown, how are things in your world? Though that you're not a regular participant in the show, how is life? Are you good?
It's been a little bit topsy-turvy.
Now your dog has sugar beaties. We found that
got the
out.
sugar beads.
She
pie.
come down with the sugars.
Yes.
Yeah. and
That's
so
Does the
it's-
dog get sugar beaties?
Same way the humans do.
What the hell were you feeding her?
I feed her. I'm like so good. I mean, she gets her kibble, and I mean, she maybe gets a last bite of like a people food, but I mean, she's not. I have been like such a model parent for this dog.
Yeah, it's.
Now, how do you find out? Now, what? Because I know nothing about having a. How do you all of a sudden you're suspecting something's wrong? You take her to the
frequent
vet?
urination, and like one night she wet the bed. She sleeps with me. I mean, a little
right down. I got to book a doctor's appointment tomorrow. No, I'm
a
kidding.
little 20-pound dog.
She is a beautiful dog.
Thank you.
She really.
I rolled over.
Ethel?
There was
Mabel.
Mabel.
It was one of those old lady names.
Yes.
There was, I mean, a flood of water. It's like, how did your little dog bladder hold that much water?
Well, because it was on the bed. Had it been on the floor, I'm sure it would have been a little
course.
But
And Harrison will have to kick in because diabetes means water. Like,
Oh.
so there's like diabetes
it's water,
mellitus,
like a-
diabetes insipidus, but it's water. So it's your body like regulating waters and sugars and all that kind of stuff. And so that's why like humans, they constantly thirsty and constantly peeing. Like they can't regulate.
Oh, okay.
They just can't regulate everything.
So
So,
this
the constant urination and peeing and like. And then they have to, and it's just that's just your dog's old. That's why I asked how old the dog was, because then it's just old. Like things are going.
She's a little older. I wouldn't say old, but
old-ish.
Al doesn't like us to
I mean,
mention
no,
her
no,
age.
I know
What's
she's not a
mature?
puppy. She's not a puppy.
Once you get to 10 in a dog, we're at
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
70.
that's true.
Yeah, you got an
Shut your
elderly
mouth,
dog
Al.
in your
My
hands.
dog is going to live to be 80.
And
zip it
if that's what you want to hear.
So I will let our listeners know right now that that you will have to bow out. You will not be part of our hour 3 because you have got to go home and maintain your dog's health.
Give her the insulin shot.
Yes, and by all means, we do not want to be responsible
So
for
now,
detaining
what kind of a
you.
schedule are you on with that?
Every 12 hours, 4 units of, insulin.
Now, and
And then do you have to feed her? It's like, is her feeding have to be really regulated, or?
No, I have to feed her. I only fed her once a day because that's all she ever wanted to eat was once a day. And so
clearly not my dog.
Twice. So now I feed her twice a day. And so they, of course, probably
Like around the time of the shots or something?
Yeah. So like some kind of $1 million dog food. I haven't gotten the bill yet from the vet. So
How long is this?
Oh, I would Google it and find a cheaper version. I'm sure somebody's already come up with a
What's your
diabetes dog
insure
food.
version? Diabetes
right.
insure for
What
dogs.
time frame are we talking? Has this been a week, 2 weeks for you?
it's been like a week and a half.
Do we notice a difference in the dog?
Oh yeah.
Oh really?
Oh God, yeah.
Oh really? Good.
I mean, it was interesting when it was like
another good
really,
story from Q Talk.
Success story.
It was when she was getting like really needy when it was starting to get, I mean, it seemed like it happened very, very quickly, and she really wanted to be like right by me, and usually she's like, I'm gonna sleep on the sofa, I'm gonna sleep on the rug, I'm gonna go sleep in the hall, whatever.
Right.
And she wanted to be like right next to me.
Oh, okay.
And then she wanted to go out and pee, and but she was, but it happened so quickly. It really felt like it happened really quickly.
Well, at least she's
dolly
good. At least
face.
she's good, and you've
She's
seen
a little sweetie
and
pie.
you've seen progress already in Mabel. That's a good thing.
And and my vet's office they're wonderful.
Where do you go?
I go to Arcadia Animal Hospital.
Little plug,
Oh.
Arcadia.
Oh, I didn't realize you
And-
were over in that direction.
No, I'm not. But I mean, that's.
No, I'm not.
Not anywhere near
But
there.
he's such a terrific veterinarian, and
Gotcha. That's cool.
he's young, and the place is clean, and you can tell they really, really care. They're really invested in the little pet friends that go.
Because you
there.
live downtown here somewhere, don't you?
Yeah, I live over on. Well, I don't know if it's appropriate.
We don't
to
give
say
actual
on the radio.
addresses. You can give a vicinity if you'd like to.
I live over by Winks.
Oh, that's right. You still live
Yeah,
there.
Yes.
Oh.
You guys, can you remind me where Winks was?
Okay, you know where Apollo's is?
Yes.
If you're on the same side of the street and you go south about 2 blocks, it's right there. It's across from Help Lumber. And for those of you people listening out of our area, you don't fucking care.
I know, but I'm so sorry. Where the Calvary was?
5707 North. Yeah, it's right
It
across
used, to
from
be next,
Calvary.
it used to be next to the Planned Parenthood.
Right.
God
I
bless
used to
her.
tell people when Winks the bar, the gay bar was there. I said I could go there and get drunk, go get knocked up, get taken care of, and then go to the rehab clinic.
Right across the street.
And then get some wood.
We used to
Get
have
some wood.
on Fridays. I remember going in on because remember Winks Happy Hour used to be crazy on Fridays. It used to be that the people would check into the Calvary, whatever the hell it was called, the rehab center that was behind us. They would jump the wall.
Stop.
And they would run in, and they didn't give a shit what kind of bar it was. They'd run in and they'd do a shot or two, and then run back and jump the wall to go back into the rehab center.
Oh my goodness.
It could if that bar was still open, we'd probably still have things going on there today.
That is wild.
But isn't just to divulge more secrets? Isn't the place behind Winks? Isn't that for like crack and meth? Like, isn't that more of?
It's all rehabs for alcohol, crack.
I thought it was a drug rehab, not an alcohol rehab.
it's all
It's any kind of
it's
rehab.
any-
I think it's even sex rehab.
oh, hey.
Okay. I like how they lump them all together. So Tyler in Tennessee
Yeah.
says to get Equate brand.
dog
So
food.
yeah, so check out Equate brand.
Equate EQUATE.
Thank you, Tyler in Tennessee.
Yeah.
He's one of our longtime listeners, Deon. We realize you're new to this, but he's been with us almost since I believe since day one. Al, what's up?
Oh, no, just a fun week. Yesterday I was busy. I got a night off from work Saturday, and so I got my week started.
We had a lovely lunch together
Yeah.
yesterday. That was fun. Surprising.
I did something I have not done, and I swear to God, it's been probably 7 years. Went to what is Zia Records? They have a new location.
The new big one.
Right, at
Yeah.
19th
On
Avenue
Camelback,
and Camelback,
yeah.
yes.
So it was just so much fun to go and wander through a record store again. My absolute
I love that you're
favorite
saying
thing.
that. I thought that when I drove by and saw it, and I went, I used to love to just go to Zia and walk around.
And just walk through.
It's amazing what you will find. Things you forgot you loved, and you'll find it for $2.
Yes.
Yeah, so and then they had the movie section. Like when I was in France, I did a whole day in Paris in the Tower Records, but actually both trips to Paris. I knew where the Tower Records was, and I found rare treats over there, and like spent a whole day. And in New York, the Tower Records in Times Square was always like a whole, and I would always lie to people. I'll be out in 5 minutes. Oh, I'm lying through my teeth.
You guys go have lunch, see a movie, do something. I'll be
lost in the Kate Bush section for about a week.
You're in Paris, France. And you're in the Louvre and you go to the Tower Records.
I did both.
The one in the
no one lost out. I did the Marie Antoinette tour, and if she had been alive today, she would have gone to. She would have been a believer.
Had she been alive,
she would have gone to Tower Records.
Too bad she got her head chopped off.
Yeah,
because if she didn't, she would have been a believer.
Is that kid not a fucking douche?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
anyway, so it was fun, and then I happened to I was just having so much fun, and then they were playing Depeche Mode over the top. So of course, once they start playing good music, and I'm like singing and flipping through stuff, and I actually went to like clean out a cupboard full of like duplicate DVDs and CDs and stuff that I actually have too many copies of because I own stuff on like every available
media source
that I'm like, okay, we can pare down and see what somebody actually wants to buy.
The surprise to me was he actually had to use his car to go there. Because he had so much shit, he drove to Zia.
It wouldn't all fit in the basket, so I had to drive. And then I texted him, and he was like, "Oh, we're at Maisie's having lunch." I'm like, "Well, I've already eaten, but I can go have a glass of wine." And then I got gift cards from work, and oh God, Tyler says it's the Walmart generic trash band. All right, so it was a joke. Tyler trying to get people to go, trying to drag friends into a Walmart.
Again, that's right. I use the mouthwash. It's
feel free to look up something.
I would never rinse my mouth with Walmart.
Or that's
I know it's Target. Isn't it Target that has the Equate?
No,
they have Up and Away or whatever it is.
Oh, is it?
I'm not sure.
I don't know what it's really called. So it was fun, and then did the whole bike, and my friends all wanted to do the bike journey because the last time they were driving while I was on my bike, you have never heard a bunch of people whine so much about, and it was a long bike ride. Because we went to 32nd and Campbell back to my house. They had to pick up their bikes and do it, and then they had to ride home. And they were like, "We got to crash at your house." And one guy's like, "I got to take my daughter to work tomorrow." And we would arrive in places. They're like, "How could you still be drunk? We're sober. We've been on these bikes forever."
So is this what you were doing yesterday? This was the bike, because I see. Mark's happy that you're back along the living.
No, and I really was not feeling it. Like this morning, and one guy had to leave because he had a little stomach problem in the middle of dinner. And then this morning, I'm like, I'm like, I don't really feel
trouble in the Netherlands.
This is from this Center Bistro. Y'all were
no. It had nothing to do with the food.
No. Oh God, should I?
Oh no, it's all right. But it had
we'll redact that.
I'm gonna reel it back in.
But it had nothing to do with the food. He was already not feeling well. But there's something going on at the hospital, and I was really nervous that it had landed on our shores, and I'm like, oh no.
Fuck.
But then I felt like about 3:00 this afternoon, I ate, and I'm like, all right,
you're back at it.
Back at normal. He's good. He's bounced back.
I can leave. I don't have to keep the bathroom in my sights now.
Fortunately, at this new studio, it's right across. We're good. Yeah. We're good.
I took a big pile of books and DVDs. Boy, that was.
Wow! And you were worried you wouldn't fit in, Deon.
Either really, really good timing or just really bad.
Yeah. Wear gloves.
What about your big pile
of books and DVDs?
Oh.
To Bookman's last week.
I have a huge bag of books in my back seat that has been there for months.
It was so great.
That's fun.
I got $250 credit in.
Oh my God! Wow.
You really had a big pile.
Oh, I did. But then it's sort of like, you didn't take this book. You didn't take France Under the Germans. Oh. This is an excellent book. Well, I'm offended.
Yeah.
Look at what's popular.
A lot of my vinyl, a lot of it I won't get rid of. But a couple years ago when I was selling off vinyl, I brought stuff to, and it must have been, what was Zia, because it was in Tempe. I brought it to Zia in Tempe, and then they offered me something, and I'm like, this is mint condition. These are 45 still in the picture sleeves. This is picture discs and everything. These are
I'm picturing a.
This is stuff that I hunt because I go to Tower Records in France. I got some cool shit.
Bitch, do you know what this is?
So they were not impressed, and then around '97, I met the biggest prince freak in the entire world. I mean, this guy was like, I can say retarded. Marnie's not here. He was just stupid over. Well, now I've made retarded sound like it's stupid, so now it is my bad. But he really had a problem. But anyways, he spent a lot of money and he bought the whole Prince collection. Yeah. So I was like, so that's what a lot of it comes down to is now I have to find collectors for some of the stuff I have. And the Prince one was just a great find. As he was talking about it, I'm like, I can make a couple of your dreams come true. Like a couple of the things he was like, I heard, because he was a lot younger. He's like, I heard that there was this thing, and I heard there was that thing, and I'm like, yep, it's in the closet in my room.
Yeah.
There's that.
So we only have a couple minutes before the break. Clayton,
yes.
How was your week?
Well, this week was kind of a fun week for me. As most of you all know, I work for my day job. My regular job is Edge Studios, which is computer equipment for bars and restaurants, the touchscreen point of sale. This past Sunday night was the episode of Bar Rescue that we were part of. And though we were not physically featured in it, you can see the screens. We got what was kind of a coveted thing. We got the verbal mention, the verbal accolade in the show of where the host of the show named John Taffer, who goes in and rips apart all kinds of bars and restaurants and tells them what they're doing wrong. He actually says, by the way, I brought in Ed Studios point of sale to give you efficiency, yada, yada, yada. Immediately, before the show was done being broadcast in Arizona, we already had 3 inquiries.
Get out.
So other inquiries have followed suit after that. The cool thing is we are, as a company, we are actually talking to 2 other restaurant chains right now. Chains. National, not huge stuff that we're talking to, which is very cool.
That's
great.
That's
fun.
Wow.
That's cool. In conjunction with that Sunday, the airing of the show was also Matt Little's birthday party. So we had that at Apollo's. And I always like to give a shout out to any parent who supports their gay son or daughter. And I give it up very much to Terry and Lynn Little, Matt's parents, that drove down from New River and spent the time with us in Apollo's to celebrate their son's success. It was really, that was very cool to me.
Oh, that's very nice.
Cool. Very nice. So they were there for all of that, which was fun. Other than that, it was another busy damn weekend for me. All the weekends seem to be busy. I don't know why.
It's your life. It's called your life.
It's called my life. I guess that's what it is. The other thing I want to give a shout out. I think you guys remember Dave McQueen. Dave McQueen he's been a longtime listener of us. He actually showed up in Flagstaff.
Oh, right.
He's the one who worked. I forget where he worked, but he would listen to us at work. And I don't know what he did. Unfortunately, Dave had a massive heart attack. And I just want to give a shout out to this. There is a benefit show playing on May Day. It's called May Dave at Newtown Saloon, which you guys were mentioning earlier. On October 24th of this year, Dave, a friend of the community and a supporter of many, many different causes, in addition to listening to our very show and our network, he suffered a heart attack, which has caused him to not be able to work. So, as anybody in the community, if you don't have any kind of benefits, oddly, bills are going to stack up, things are going to come due that you need to have done. So they have orchestrated a show called May Dave at Newtown Saloon.
I hope it's May 1st.
I'm not. Actually, it's the 4th of May. Actually, Saturday, May 4th. They couldn't hit it, but it has to be on.
They couldn't hit it.
It has to be on a Saturday for more people to be there. Several area performers are going to be there, donating their time and all their tips and money. And if you want more information about that, Dave McQueen is his name. The event is called May Dave, DAVE, at Newtown Saloon. Look that up online. I want to give a shout out to him because
great.
he has supported us and been in our chat room and been a listener to us for all this time. And now he needs some help, so I wanted to give a shout out to him.
And Newtown, what a cool bar is Newtown. Coming back from the fire and in the parade, they have I don't know who won yet the parade for the Phoenix Pride Parade.
We won't know till the gala.
But their float was crazy bananas good,
2 years
amazing,
ago
ridiculous.
With the fire. Right,
they
fantastic.
are and I just feel like Newtown is such a cool bar, and now they're hosting this event for Dave, and it's cool.
It's very cool.
It was always a fun. It's really Tempe's only. It's the closest one to the college to ASU.
Yeah, right.
And it was always the little place that you would meet everybody every September that was just new to school and pretending to be 21. And you had your 8 bits for 4 bits for a beer.
Yeah, 4 bits. Come on in, sarsaparilla. Well, I'd like to say, and I'm not being callous, when Dave, this unfortunate event happened, I hope that when the doctors broke the news to his loved ones, that it was in a beautiful oak.
Well, it could have been
paneled room.
I'm not sure.
Leather upholstered
plush seats and nice pillows.
I always hope your bad news greets you in a well-appointed room.
I'm going to go with the fact that I'm assuming that Dave is doing okay because he actually emailed me personally and asked me if I would promote that and ask that. So,
that's very
nice.
Dave.
Hi, Dave. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being out there for us. But I'm sure there's other things I'm forgetting that were wonderful in my week. But right now I can't think of them.
Well, really exciting about your work.
Well, that's weird.
And you guys,
that's crazy
now
fantastic.
Ed Studios is in Arizona and then also California?
We're in San Diego, LA, mostly in Arizona. We have a couple things that are back east, but they're just for a couple other reasons. But it's very cool. It's interesting to have been. And also, one of the cool things is we had the viewing party for Bar Rescue at Apollo's. Apollo's is the second bar, BS West being the first bar where Ed Studios actually started, Apollo's being the second. The cool thing for me was I've known Matt for several years, but when I actually became affiliated with Edge was on the patio of Apollo's. That was the day that, for some of you who may remember, there was a tragic business... Great brouhaha, which was a drinking word from a couple weeks ago. And I called Matt in a time of need, and it is crazy that some of your friends that you don't know, when you meet them, how they're going to affect your life. Wow, crazy, affecting my life hugely. Yeah. I was hired for Ed Studios on the patio of Apollo's 4 years ago this year.
Yeah.
Oh, so thank God you could do a job interview at a bar.
Yeah. Well,
that's a good job.
I called him and I said I need an open bar tab because what's wrong? I said show up and I'll tell you.
So you walked out with a job.
I walked out with a job. Yeah, and a longtime family friend or a great friend. It's a wonderful thing. It is 7:35. It's Q Talk America. It's the show with Clayton McKee. I'm here along with Katie, Al, and our special guest this week is Deon Brown. We'll be back right after this with headlines and more to come.
So far, just wait till after this 30-second dance break.
And now something special from your friends at Q Talk America. If you're looking for an online retailer that's got one of the world's largest online and mail order selections offering the very best in gay entertainment, then your friends at Q Talk America would like to recommend TLAgay.com. From gay-themed movies and adult entertainment on DVD, as well as video on demand, they also have other literature, ebooks, and all of those other things that you don't want your mom to find. TLAgay.com provides services to hundreds of thousands of customers worldwide. And now through the end of March, there's a special discount offer for all of our Q Talk America listeners. Do your shopping at TLAgay.com/QTalk. Make your selections from all of the products and services they have to offer. And when you're ready to check out, use the coupon code QTalk. You'll receive an additional 10% off your order, and that's in addition to any other discounts they're already offering. It's a great deal from your friends at Q Talk America and TLAgay.com. Once again, check them out at TLAgay.com. All right, here we go with headlines coming at you right now on Q Talk America. It's Tuesday night. It's the show with Clayton McKee and company. We're going to talk about these things and more. Drivers alert police of a morning joyride.
Breastfeeding baby doll. Love it or hate it.
A man is arrested for mixed sex.
Stay out of relationship.
A Pennsylvania woman is cited for calling 911.
Keep your newfound bisexuality to yourself.
And a recent study states that beer's taste may trigger an urge to get drunk. In related news, smelling cooking food makes you hungry. These stories and much, much more right here on Q Talk America. What do you need, Al? Food? You need something?
No, something's flashing like the dog's calling with a medical emergency.
You need to take that call? You good?
Whenever somebody has like Every once in a while, somebody's got that phone that goes, which I think is a really inappropriate noise to have where I work.
Yeah, of course.
So the phone goes off, and I'm like, if that's not nuclear war coming or North Korea calling to say it's all over, turn it off. Fucking ringer, yeah. Because I'm like, that's an alarming little ringer.
Yes, I'm sure.
Mine has a gentle vibration that rides my inner thigh just lovingly.
Mine too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Different phone.
Well, here we right, totally different.
I've seen that advertised on MTV.
Two phones.
Well, authorities say a 6-year-old Lapeer, Michigan boy seeking Chinese food took his father's car for a morning joyride. The Lapeer County Sheriff's Department says that they were alerted by other drivers who saw a youngster driving erratically Sunday morning about 60 miles north of Detroit. Doesn't everybody 60 miles north of Detroit just drive erratically? When deputies arrived, 2 drivers had boxed the car in, and one of them had pulled the keys from the ignition. Spokesman Sergeant Andy Inkster tells the Detroit News that the boy had no previous driving experience. No shit.
How old was he?
6. But he wanted Chinese food all the way around 7:30 in the morning. Inkster also says the boy also wanted to get the car repaired after he'd hit a sign, fearing his father would be mad at him.
A 6-year-old.
Now, the boy's father told deputies that he was asleep and had no idea his son was gone. The incident is currently under investigation.
Was the kid stoned? Is that what we wanted to do?
Or the dad.
That was
Maybe.
question
The
number one. Dad was down like, honey, go get me Chinese food.
Right. At
And isn't the
7:30.
first thing you learn about Chinese food is that it comes to your door?
It can be shipped to
does.
you. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Every time in every city.
But not at 7:30 in the morning, you think?
Sure.
Well, I mean, we may be outside the window, but
We'll see. Got it.
your first question should be, where is the nearest Chinese place that delivers? I mean, that's when I moved into my house. That was my first question. How close am I to the nearest
Good
Filiberto's? And where's a good Chinese place that
Highly
delivers?
relevant.
And we found both of them.
Where's a mediocre place that delivers? Let's be honest. When you're in Chinese
Yeah, right,
delivery,
right.
your standards are lower.
Go ahead, Deon.
Well, this is the breastfeeding baby doll. $89 doll makes suckling noises from sensors in
I'll do it for
shirts.
free. Okay, go ahead.
Oh boy, I mean, it's a breastfeeding doll whose suckling sounds are prompted by sensors sewn into the halter of the nipples of little girls that caught some flack after hitting the U.S. market.
No.
What? Where the hell was this doll from?
Well, this story's from New York.
Oh.
Well, commentary from the always brilliant Bill O'Reilly says, I just want the kids to be kids. On his Fox News show when he learned of the breast milk baby. And this kind of stuff, we don't need this.
So now the doll goes up to the young girl's breast and suckles.
And makes noise?
Yeah.
Because I thought,
it comes from Spain. Leave it to the Europeans.
I know.
De España.
A 40-year-old doll maker in Spain can't get the dolls onto mainstream shelves more than a year after introducing the line in this country.
Well, I'm sure. What do you...
It sounds like like the doll comes with a halter, which is a little bit weird for like a baby girl.
She's got to put a bra full of milk on and then hold the doll. And
what I was hearing, and maybe I'm wrong, is that there's a sensor. So when the little girl has to put the halter top on, and then when she puts the doll up, then the sensor, is activated, and the doll makes
noises.
Okay, there's an Epic-Cray factor here that is so... I hate to go to Pig Latin immediately, but...
The dolls, there's 8 dolls in all with a variety of skin tones and facial features.
Good.
We need the facial features.
And at least one of the babies has sugar beaties to make it more lifelike.
Oh boy, it's just this. They're little Savannah and Tony, Cameron and Jessica, Lil Yang and Jeremiah.
Lil Yang.
My God, how many? The whole fucking family. Does Angelina Jolie know about these people?
She'll take 2.
Oh my
It's like,
God.
is this another Bill O'Reilly quote? Why do we need anything with bells and whistles? Well, and suckling noises. Why do we need another Betsy Wetsy? Children like toys that do things. Well, this does something.
Suckling is a thing. It's a pretty,
So is
it's a pretty
wetsying.
serious thing.
Oh, it's somebody else who said that, not her.
We don't care.
We'll give it to Bill
So
O'Reilly.
this doll makes noises. She burps. She cries. She sucks very noisily. Big deal.
You can get that at the Flex on a Friday.
There's a picture.
And that one comes with a sling, not
a real sling.
Not a halter.
Not a halter,
Yeah.
right. Oh, my God. I don't know what else. Katie, you have anything were you a breastfeeding mom?
I tried. It is really a gigantic pain in the ass, and I was a crazy.
You're doing
bitch.
it wrong.
Apparently, I just need this little halter top, and I'm all set.
Did the La Leche League chase you around and force you?
I went to one La Leche League meeting, and there were 8-year-olds.
Cray.
They're 8-year-olds breastfeeding. I mean, kids were coming up and going, "Mommy, boob, booby, milk," and the mom was. So the one mom's reading out of the La Leche book, and she's like, and picks up the shirt.
Weird.
Boob out, and this child is standing next to her. I mean, 8 is an exaggeration, but I'm talking
3 set of teeth, right.
3 years old, 4 years old.
When you can ask
reading,
for it,
it's time.
Yeah,
but they were
La Leche's up there with PETA. They're both equally just
I've
fucking.
heard that those La Leche Leagues are kind of moonies.
Well, and I think what happened.
I didn't realize it was a real thing. I thought I was making up a name.
No.
Okay.
I think what happened is that I had a look on my face at the first and only meeting I went to, because there were some other new moms there, and they embraced the new moms, and they were like, "Let me help you." Because nobody talked to me, so I must have been sitting there like this. What the fuck? I must have had that look on my face.
Yeah, they saw you coming
because nobody talked, and I left right away.
See the look on that face.
Oh
yeah, I could even zoom in if we wanted to.
I know.
Oh my God! Well, I won't right now. What the fuck is this?
Sit that kid down and get him a soda.
Yeah,
but it is.
Or butter.
Breastfeeding is it's a very challenging experience, and I had a hard time with it, but. This is weird. I don't know if I want my little girl.
I'm all for it.
I'm
Whip
totally
it out in
for
a restaurant, wherever you want to do it. I don't give a shit.
I would have breastfed Palmer up to a year if I could have. I was not able to. She was starving.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't, but I would have done it. And I think it's totally natural. I get it. 3, 4, a little much. But this is, I don't know. To me, and I'm not really a conservative, prude. You know that.
Well,
we
know that. We know that.
But this maybe is a little weird for my little daughter to strap on a halter and breastfeed a baby.
Yeah.
Weird.
And you're not going to scare me with a pair of titties.
Well, speaking of strap-ons, that's a nice segue, wasn't it?
I mean, if you're at Kmart and you see this and hear, unexpected, but I don't want to go to Dillard's.
Outside of the men's room. I don't want to hear that.
By all means, let's separate our breastfeeding by retail establishments.
Yeah, exactly. I want my clientele a little higher on the food chain.
I hosted a fashion show at Macy's Biltmore last week, and nobody was sucking on anything there.
Saying you bring your back
so you saw.
I
know some of the models.
I was out on the floor doing my job. Thank you very much.
Some of those models are still living on breast milk. They're so they can fit in those fucking clothes.
Well, it appears that one Happy Meal did not end with a happy ending in Albuquerque, New Mexico. KOBE TV reports that Albuquerque, New Mexico man is facing charges after Albuquerque police say he tried to trade a meal from McDonald's for sex. Now, oddly, this caught my attention because I know in the past year of shows, this story has surfaced more than once. The gentleman named Donald Jones was arrested last week in an Albuquerque park after officers saw a woman pulling up her pants in his car. According to the criminal complaint, the 58-year-old Farmington resident picked up a woman in an area known for prostitutes, drove to a nearest McDonald's and ordered food at the drive-thru window, and then headed straight for the park. The complaint says that the woman told police that she did agree to have sex with Jones in exchange for McDonald's food. Wow, that's a lousy dollar menu. Police say also prescription narcotics were found in the car. It was unclear if Jones had an attorney.
Sure.
We did this exact same story last summer about Burger King. But
We've done it right.
Remember, it was have it your way.
I knew the story sounded familiar.
But the difference was it was Burger King and no prescription. There was no lawyer, but there was also no prescription drugs.
There's never a lawyer.
Remember, she was given hand jobs for Big Macs.
Yeah.
And she was going window to window in the drive-thru.
Whopper.
If you're going to do it, at least do it big. Get the Big Mac. Get the supersize it.
Exactly. All the gooey loot.
An apple pie. Yes, the gooey loot.
The gooey loot. Yes.
Special sauce, lettuce, cheese.
There you go. Deon, back to you.
Lettuce alone, we're dressing.
Oh, bad pun. There we go. What you got?
Okay. Dear Abby.
I never thought to steal from her.
Oh, it's a gold mine. My niece is engaged to a really nice guy who is obviously gay.
Is this Liza Minnelli?
And in denial because of his religion, my brother and his wife ignore it because, according to them, being gay is a sin. I had a gathering at my home and some gay friends attended. They noticed that he was gay and mentioned it to me. Should I just stand by and keep my mouth shut? Signed, unsure in New Jersey.
Oh, what is this? Well,
that's the only person in New Jersey who's unsure of something. We found her. She wrote in.
What is the answer from
Abby
Miss
says,
Abigail?
dear unsure, yes, you should. Unless you are 100% sure the man is, in fact, gay, you should keep your feelings to yourself. Nice woman, Abby.
Yeah, that's because you never know when you're dealing with. Remember that unfortunate Saturday Night Live character, the effeminate heterosexual? Well, yeah. What if it's him? What if he just likes Broadway shows and Mary Tyler Moore? I mean, we don't know.
And Kelly thinks that everyone is gay. Literally looks at anyone and like, gay. They're gay. They're gay. They're not all gay.
Yeah.
So you
I
could
think
just
Kelly's
be
biased a little bit. It seems like
slightly.
Yeah.
And I think she just wants the whole wide world
Could be.
Yeah.
to be gay. Maybe
Could be. Is that it for Abby's response?
That's
Short and
that's it
sweet.
for her, yeah.
We're not mad. Let's move on to Girard, Pennsylvania. Police have cited a 42-year-old Pennsylvania woman for disorderly conduct after she called 911 requesting a divorce.
awesome.
And also police assistance to remove her husband from her home. Troopers say a woman called just after 1 a.m. on Saturday. Nobody was drinking. Asking that officers be sent to her home in the Girard Township in northern Pennsylvania. Police say they explained to the woman, whom they are not identifying in this report, that a divorce is a civil matter and that they could not make her husband leave the residence because actually no crime had been committed at all. Instead, police have cited her for disorderly conduct and misusing the Erie County 911 system.
That's
No,
perfect.
it doesn't even say anything about our attorney. So I don't know.
I bet that bitch doesn't have one. I'm betting.
Was it a Phoenix? Was it the Phoenix mayor's wife? Who was it? They used to call 911 for directions.
Oh, you're right.
Stop.
Scottsdale.
Sam Campana, wasn't it? Who?
Yeah.
No,
That used to call-
it was the mayor of Scottsdale.
Sam
Right, the
Campana.
mayor, not the.
She used to
Yeah.
call and ask for directions.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that.
I was a
That's
fan of hers.
crazy.
She did. I remember because Beth and Bill used to make fun of her all the time. Well, reports again, she's lost. And then she called.
And they would always have the tape. The best part was the dumb bitch never realized
She
that
was recorded.
They record all
Right.
911 tapes.
I'm near Fashion Square. How do I get to blah, blah, blah? Yeah. Well, they
That
recorded.
is crazy.
How do I get to Demons from Nordstrom?
I'm sure.
I'm on level 3 of Scottsdale Mall.
Right.
And
Where
there
do
is
I
that
go?
little 5-block corridor where you're in the old town Scottsdale that gets a little twisty turny, but
Yeah.
it's giant open roads. Just figure it out. It's named after a tree or follow the setting sun. Like, you adult.
Yes. Go ahead, Mr.
Oh, I like
Mr.
that word.
Brown.
I can substitute that for the offensive one.
Don't.
This one is one of my favorites.
Okay. Are we again pulling from Dear Abby?
Again, Dear Abby.
Okay.
This one is titled "A Son's Odd Behavior." Sounds like a Miss Marple.
I haven't heard that in a long time.
I date myself. Nobody else will. Dear
Next
Abby, I am the single dad of 2. This is like from something from Shishi LaRue,
Yeah.
Rascal Video.
Okay.
But it's actually Dear Abby.
All right.
2 teenage boys, 17 and 18, who are both in high school. I'm wondering about something they do with their friends. The boys take showers in large groups when they come home from running or sports.
Do we have an address?
Or if a group is spending the night, they shower in groups of 2, 3, or 4. How big is this shower?
I want to. Right.
Well, I hope it's not big at all.
It's not like we have a huge shower. It's normal size. Okay. I know there's nothing sexual going on because I can hear them talking and joking around. He's up there next to the door with
Right.
a
With the
Camera.
glass. Or a camera. What's the date line on this story, by the way? Flip that around. What's the date line you got? Because Abby's been dead a while.
Oh, but there's been someone writing us here for a long time.
Her daughter was,
her
right.
daughter. I know there's nothing going on because I hear them talking. When I asked the boys about this, they looked at me like I had 2 heads.
Yeah.
They did too.
They said it was just a social thing, the same as showering together after football in the school gym. They also, quote unquote, air dry after showers by walking around in towels. While I'm glad they are comfortable with their bodies and who they are, it still bothers me somewhat. Am I being a prude thinking this is unusual or inappropriate? Signed, Stumped in Kentucky.
Well, Kentucky, there's a problem right
A
there.
lot of stumping going on.
I'm my own grandpa.
Yeah.
And in nearby states.
Well,
Stumping all over the South.
Now, this response ought to be priceless.
Dear Stumped, I see nothing inappropriate about your sons and what their friends are doing, nor do I want you to label you a prude. You're just not as comfortable in your skin as your sons and their quote-unquote jock friends are. Is it possible
She made it dirty right there.
Is it possible that they take after their mother?
It's possible.
Not sure what that means.
It's also
exactly.
possible that they're diddling each other.
Well, I like to
But
think.
wait, what did that last sentence even mean?
I don't get it
Like
either.
women take showers in herds too?
In herds?
As a woman,
That
and women like to run around,
I mean, I like to do that, but I'm a lesbian.
Yeah.
So
I like to shower in herds. Yeah,
that's a thing.
I mean, my thing is usually like when you're looking at something and you're finding it dirty, it's usually your mind that's
Your
making
problem,
it dirty.
right.
Like,
Yeah, but I don't know if a bunch of teenage boys are like showering with each
oh, they're
17 and
come
18.
on, you're jacking off.
Yes.
And you can still talk about sports while you're shooting it at the
And
shower curtain.
the boys in like
I can
we
carry
had
on a
some dirty
conversation.
birds at my high school.
I lose
Like,
my breath.
Some dirty birds who were really open, and we talked about it all the time. And they used to talk about that they did that was like a normal. That was like a thing that they did. That like circle jerking was like a real
Yeah.
thing that all the boys
The occasional
did.
daisy
I used to hear
chain.
stories. I used to beg to be invited.
Yeah.
But
I know.
this is like
I'm
something
always
from, like,
bitter that I was never asked to be part of those when I, you know what I mean?
I always had like the kid who was in the poetry club asked me to come over and
I would ask people to come over and listen to Last Dance in my basement and watch me like sing along and lose my mind. Like,
And that's why
But
they
this is
want to
like
touch
something
you.
from like BrokeStraightBoys.com or something.
Yeah.
it really is.
Right, but the fact that
I was going to let you volunteer the website because I am far too
well, no, in my
white
head,
a woman to know
in my
that.
head, and the end result of that is she witnessed the birth of Grindr, and is what that woman had done.
Yeah.
That app. She saw that. Well, I'm gonna involve you. I think this headline story. Well, we may go over. We're not sure. Doesn't really matter. A recent study states that beer taste may trigger the urge to get drunk. Just as the smell of freshly brewed coffee may compel you to pour a steaming cup of Java, a small taste of beer may activate a part of your brain's reward system. It's called reward and
I
trigger.
have a rewards program in my brain?
Yes.
Yeah.
Does it result in free hotel nights?
and urge you for more Java. Researchers have discovered that sensory cues associated with drinking may stimulate certain parts of the brain and cause a craving for yet more alcohol, giving people a very small amount of a brand of beer or liquor that they that they like or that they frequently consume produced a desire to drink what is correlated with the release of dopamine, which is a neurotransmitter that helps control the brain's reward and pleasure centers. The study also showed that the amount of dopamine released was greater in those who had parents who were or siblings who were victims of alcoholism.
Yeah, I mean, they say it's hereditary, so you need to go ahead.
Yeah, I know. No, that's really about it. I just thought that was interesting. They needed a study to figure out that if you taste beer, you want more.
But the part I like about it is that they talk about like of a brand they like, where it's like okay, here's a can of Brown Derby for you,
Yeah.
and for you, we have a lovely
Stella Artois, or whatever her name is.
Yeah. It's sort of well, yeah. If you're gonna get like the nasty skunky beer, you're gonna like I want, but you will just like I'll drink it.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to get
Every
fucked
Because
up.
if you want to buzz,
Every
you want to
time.
buzz. Yeah.
I mean, I used smoking cigarettes. Like, I hate menthols, but I really like a cigarette, so I don't care whatever you got.
And I know I've seen a lot of people like that. Oh, it's a menthol. I'll smoke it anyway. No, if it's
Oh,
not.
like Richard and Wilson, Benson Hedges Deluxe Ultralight Menthol.
Oh, wow. Knows
If
that
I
too.
sold it to you, I
Which
remember
that
what
isn't
it
even
was.
really smoking. That isn't even really smoking. It's like breathing deeply in a warm room.
We're doing that now.
Bitch vapor rub somewhere.
Bust the filters off of that thing so you can actually.
Oh, God, that's so much better. Go ahead, Mr. Brown. You got another story for us?
Keep your newfound bisexuality to yourself.
Oh, I think
Next.
all people should do that.
Yeah.
I know
Call us
it.
when you're gay.
I know bisexuality. I mean, it's the hula hoop of the new millennium for some people. Oh, look at me! I'm so cool. I'm so cool.
I can sleep with everybody.
It's a way station on the long train ride to gay. So just call us when you get there.
Dear Abby, after years of denial, dear Abby, once again,
Abigail Van Buren, ladies and gentlemen.
After years of denial, I've come to the realization that I am bisexual. I'm happily married to a straight man, and we have a great marriage, and I wouldn't change this for the world. He is my soulmate. I just have to be physically attracted to women, too. Some people say I can't be bisexual if I've never been with a woman. I say they're wrong. Am I correct?
Dun, dun, dun.
So she wrote to Dear Abby to find out if she's bisexual.
Oh, and she also expands upon this and saying, should I post this on social media?
Oh my God!
I think I'm bi. Can I try to
laundry there?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what to do with my revelation. I've pondered it for some time, and you know what happens when you start pondering?
Yeah.
You need a towel.
You end up on Grindr.
I felt I could trust you to give me some tactful, unbiased advice, and the rest of America now, too.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, just you.
Bi in the Deep South.
That was her signature.
Oh, bi in
All
the Deep South.
Dear
BITDS. Bisexuality is having attraction to people of both sexes, and yes, it is possible to be bisexual without having acted upon it. Thank God for Dear Abby. Thank God for that. Everybody else who studied this for centuries,
Relax.
the answer is
right here.
Abby's got it.
Abby's got it.
Under a pseudonym.
Unless you are promiscuous, you are not, capital letters, available. Many married people agree to be committed. They certainly should be committed. If you choose to confide your diverse sexual orientation to your close friends, that's your business. But if you do, please remember that once two people know something, there's a strong likelihood of the news spreading faster than the flu. Okay. P.S. If you do decide to divulge, be sure to tell your husband first.
Yeah, that's strong advice. Like, if you don't want anyone to know, then don't tell anyone.
It's like the old Mark Twain thing, a secret is better kept if one person is dead.
Yeah, right.
No, absolutely.
I'll tell you this, but there you go. We got to take the kill shot afterwards.
Certainly.
Sorry, Tyler.
Honey, I was logging onto Facebook today, and
guess what
I saw a change in relationship status.
Exactly. Why are we complicated? Yeah.
What's a lickalotopus?
Yeah.
Is that a new animal at the zoo?
Yeah. Is that from Jurassic Park 3?
3D. We're running just a little over on this, but I want to get this last story in, and it kind of ties in with our horrible run at the Dr. Drew's Death Den.
It's a tough game. I told you guys.
People of a certain age will understand this. Today we lost a broadcaster from the NFL, a spokesperson, a gentleman by the name of Pat Summerall, died at the age of 82. He was the Giants' outstanding place kicker who went on to team up with John Madden. All of you know who John Madden is.
And wish I didn't.
He was on the air for 21 seasons with John in network television's most prominent NFL broadcast twosome. He died today in Dallas. He was 82. A family spokesperson, Valerie Bell, said that Summerall had been at Zale Lipsche University Hospital since Thursday, where he had apparently fallen and broken his hip.
Never ends well.
He was on the hips never end about that. She said he was undergoing rehabilitation at the hospital and then experienced a sudden cardiac arrest. Going back on December. In 1958, Summerall kicked a 49-yard field goal in a snowstorm. I'm apparently loaded up at this point at Yankee Stadium, and he gave the Giants a 13-10 victory over the Cleveland Browns. The big thing is to me, and these are the reason I brought this up for you all, and I realize that so many people have no idea by name who Pat Summerall is. He's one of those voices that's been around your entire life. You had no idea who he was, but I'm going to get to a question in a minute for the panel, and I want to play this little audio clip of Pat Summerall first, just so that you can understand what, if you recognize this voice, then you'll understand a little bit more about what I'm talking about.
The Imperial Folding Handyman performs hundreds of useful functions with 9 carbon steel tools, and it fits right in your pocket. During June, it's just $4.99 while supplies last. Look for the True Value of the Month banner at participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
And tell them Pat Summerall sent you.
So it's a voice that we all have grown up with. We've all known
Katie
that.
Didn't grow up with that voice.
No, Katie didn't, but he was. He's been around for ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Pat Summerall was one of those voices that, to me, was I always aspired to be. I always wanted to be that person. So what I wanted to propose to you as a panel was, is there a voice, is there somebody who was a spokesperson from your childhood or even your adulthood who you lended credibility to? Now, obviously, obvious things are going to be like Walter Cronkite, Tom Brokaw, some of those people who were always in your living room.
I went somewhere completely different.
Okay, and that's fine.
Now, are you talking really about voices or personas even?
Either way, I'm just looking at it because he was one of those people. You saw him on television, you heard the voice. It was always, to me, his voice was always just a very soothing, warming. It lended credibility to him.
Right.
To me, just like the Paul Harveys of the world.
It
was the same way. So I just was curious before we go to our crossover break. I was curious to know if are there voices of your childhood that meant something to you.
Ed McMahon or
good point. Very good point.
Rod Rodney from The Price.
The Price is Right. Come on down.
Because you never really, and Don Pardo from Saturday Night Live,
right?
Because he's still alive,
right?
But that voice of Saturday Night Live never changes.
Gary Owens from the Laugh-In. Yeah. Gary Owens was the announcer for Laugh-In.
Oh, but definitely Don Pardo. And,
right.
And it's so funny, like, when you go to the casinos and they have the Price is Right game, and even though he's long dead from breast cancer, Rod Rodney, like, they still have his voice because he is the real voice of the Price is Right.
He was between Bob Barker and him.
He's it.
Yeah, Deon?
Well, it's funny you mentioned Paul Harvey because I actually met him once.
Oh, you did?
I worked in retail, and this man came up to me and was like, "Young man, could you tell me how much this item costs?"
And just with his stand.
And I said, he was very charming. I said, "Do I know you? You seem so familiar." And he said, "No, I've never met you before."
And that's the rest of my life.
And so he bought something, and I saw his credit card, and I said, I know you very, very well. And I associated him with being a child getting up very early for school, and my father kept a radio on top of the refrigerator.
Oh, Jesus Christ, how old are you?
Icebox,
I love it.
On top of the refrigerator, just a little tiny radio. And I can still see my dad. I'd be there eating my cold cereal and Pop-Tarts. It was very tragic. And, and my dad, sipping his coffee and him listening to Paul Harvey and laughing. And I hated Paul Harvey. Well, as a little kid, it just...
You didn't appreciate it at all.
It made no sense.
Right.
These pregnant pauses and these... Just hear him saying that's the rest of the story, about somebody plowing a field, Abraham Lincoln walking 5 miles in the snow to return a book. But, as I grew up, it was a very, very comforting memory. And then when I met him...
That's so neat.
Yeah. I told him, I said, I'd like to be able to tell you. I said, how many mornings I spent with my father listening to you on the radio while I was getting ready for school. And he's like, well, that's a wonderful story, young man. Is your father still with us? And I say, he spoke in these resonant, well-modulated, pear-shaped tones, like Paul Harvey. And, and he was, and it was really a special, it brought back that feeling of being a little
My
kid.
parents used to listen. They would listen to the radio in the morning while we were getting ready, and they would break with war songs, which I don't know if it was just that channel or that's why my parents liked it so much, but it was always Anchors Away and like... So, you really would. By the time you're finished with breakfast, you're like, what's a stirring little anthem? I don't know whether to invade the school or just go there.
But my father, he'd laugh. That Paul Harvey...
So, it could have been Paul Harvey I was listening to, but I would always wait for the music. Like, oh my God, please let there be a music break for whatever it is we're listening to.
That's so Al.
Absolutely.
That's so Al.
But, even like John Cameron Swayze. Mm-hmm. Even...
that's a good one.
Time
I forgot
together
about
to
him.
Timex.
And again, good dead or alive, because I thought Pat Summerall died ages ago. I figured he just died from having to listen to John fucking Madden talk in that booth.
Now, Kate,
I thought you were going to say that he slipped on a 10-penny nail in a hardware store and broke a hip.
No, True Value had nothing to do with his death. Yeah, Katie, now obviously,
nail. How old are you?
Obviously, coming from a younger generation, who would you?
It is, and I know you already said it, but it is so Tom Brokaw, and I think I've mentioned on the show before that I'm just like completely in love with him.
The other person that I thought of, and it would be, I think, a little more in line with you. Maybe I'm off on this. Susan Ellerby. Remember Susan Ellerby? from NBC.
Yeah, I vague. Yeah,
she had cancer, and then she then came back in Nickelodeon.
Kids. Yeah. Oh yes. She just died.
Know her.
Didn't we do a death segment on her recently, or was
I don't think
Nickelodeon?
Okay,
died,
no.
I don't know.
Nickelodeon may have died, but I don't think Susan Ellerby has.
But Jane Pauley was like my mom listened to her in the mornings, you know. And, but Tom Brokaw was it, and I think I've said before that I would come home from school and I would. You know, my mom would come home and she would be making dinner, and my dad would come home and fix himself a scotch and sit there, and they'd have the little black and white TV in the kitchen.
How old are you?
Was it on the icebox?
It was. We actually had an icebox, but we stored the china in it. It was like an old icebox. But and then and they would be making dinner, and that was just the sound of like the jingle of the nightly NBC Nightly News and Tom Brokaw's voice, and I love him.
I
still watch Brian Williams now, but it's not, and I love him. Totally, it's just not the same for me.
Yeah.
But I think about when I tell Palmer time for the news, and she goes news, and I wonder if at some point
we're going to bring in here for a segment of news. That'll be fun for us.
The same thing. Yeah. The other thing, and actually the first person that I thought of when you played that, and I looked up to recall, is Billy Mays. And that was not someone that was like comforting to me in my childhood necessarily.
Isn't he the guy that put?
He was the OxyClean guy. But he expanded his portfolio before he died very instantly.
Oh, he died right around Michael Jackson, right?
Yeah, he died from a coke overdose.
When people were always searching for the threes. Like the people die in threes, and it was like Farrah Fawcett, and they were like him, and I'm like, he's not really.
Yeah, but he was the guy that like when you played that commercial, he was like my info commercial.
He was the seller
and Ron Popeil.
Got it.
Another voice that I remember is E.G. Marshall. He had another.
Oh, I love his voice.
I love E.G. Marshall.
That's a game of how old is he? How old are we?
That's. Well,
oh my God, I'm a lick upon his
I have a tiny blast from the past for you, Deon. Are you ready?
Oh my God,
and now, the rest of the story.
It is 10 minutes after 8 o'clock. We are running really late, but we're doing good. We are in studio. It's Q Talk America. It's the show with Clayton McKee. That is me. Thank you for being here. I'm in studio with our friends Katie June, Al Perkins, and our special guest, Deon Brown, is with us this week. Yay! It's a Grand Torino.
It's a Grand Canal.
Yes, a Grand Canal, Christina. Coming up in just mere moments, we have an entertainment segment. Our drinking word is going to be revealed by the one and only Mr. Al Perkins. I'm going to go to Studio A and make a beverage and get a little Greek yogurt. I may have to stop at the restroom, but I'm not sure yet. We haven't decided.
You know your mic is on, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, just want to check it.
We're alive.
All right, we are coming back in
this moment. And now, inner monologue with Clayton McKee.
We'll be back right after this on Q Talk America.
You've been listening to The Show on Q Talk America. This is Q Talk America.
The following broadcast contains adult humor, language, and topics, along with partial nudity. Actual knowledge is used sparingly. The show is a result of a lost bet and a bad game of rock, paper, scissors. It's The Show with Clayton McKee. And now, a man with a face for radio, Clayton McKee.
Oh, good evening once again. That's just about 11 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock. It's a Tuesday night. You're in the studio with us, The Show on Q Talk America. My name is Clayton McKee. Thank you for being here. We're running a little tardy, but fuck it. It's our show. We don't care. Next caller. See, Deon, I knew you'd figure. We got to figure out what the bells are. He was worried about what the bells were for. He goes, well, when do I ring it? I'm like, you'll know.
You'll know.
Long John Silver's like ring bell for good service if you receive good service.
Yeah, well,
I'm still waiting for that to happen.
You're not going to
ring that bell.
You're not going to get that here at all. It is a Tuesday night. We do this every Tuesday from 7 to 10 o'clock right here Arizona time. Thank you for being with us. It's Katie June, Al Perkins. This week we've given Marnie Ryer the week off. She is celebrating her 2-year anniversary with her girlfriend Erin.
Congratulations. Yay. That's very exciting.
We love Erin.
I'm celebrating 12 years of being single. But anyway,
we love Erin.
Lovingly filling in Marnie's place this week is Deon Brown. Let's hear it for Deon. He's the gentleman in the red shirt with the teal collar.
And it's a thrilled to be here with all of you.
I love that you had to breastfeed first. let me get the suckling started.
It ain't over till the suckling's finished.
Till everyone's had their dose.
Coming up this hour, we are going to get into a little bit of entertainment headlines, and also in just moments, Al is going to reveal our drinking word for tonight's show. I have no idea what it is, but he certainly loved brouhaha from a couple weeks ago.
But last week was so hard between gooey loot and brouhaha. It was an embarrassment of riches last week.
Embarrassment of riches. I think you're stepping up your vocal talents because Deon's in the house with us. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? Yeah. All right, here we go. It's time for our... Oh, I gotta goddamn do this shit. There we go. And it's time for our drinking disclaimer right here on Q Talk America because, well, that's what we do.
And now, a drink-along. We dare you to stay awake during this royalty-free music and to play a drinking game with us. If you are currently or soon to be driving a car, you cannot play. If you are presently the primary caregiver for children and or the elderly, you may desperately want to play, but no. If you are listening from a rehab facility, you are disqualified because you already hit bottom, and that means you already won this game at least once. If playing this game is in any way illegal for you, put the bottle down and make better life choices. There is no good in your goodbye, and there is no lifeguard on duty, so you will be swimming at your own risk. Tell your lawyer to take the fucking day off. You can't sue us. We warned you. Good luck.
Well, in honor of Deon, one of my favorite phrases that he uses, and I probably mispronounce it because I love to say it with a southern accent, is Quelle Supre.
What is that? I don't know what that even means.
Yeah, I'm going to need a real quick refresher on that.
Quelle Supre.
Help us out. And I don't know why that I go to like Lucy from Dallas when I say it, but it always comes out like that.
How
Say it correctly, because I only speak Lancôme French.
Quelle surprise.
All right, and what does it mean exactly?
What a surprise.
Oh my God, perfect.
Okay, so give us the alternatives that we can use. Anything with a surprise in it?
Yeah, surprise is fine. But I'd like
Say it again, so I'm ready.
Go ahead, Deon.
Quelle surprise.
Quelle Supre.
I'm going to write that with a little line over the E.
Because Deon and our dear friend David Van Veerden used to write the column, or a version of the column that started 1,000 years ago.
The U report?
Peppered with little Frenchy.
Little Lancôme French phrases.
I finally got chewed out that O&I on the slings and arrows.
Oh, Kelly read something from that. Is it the back? The outrageous.
No.
Slings and arrows is at the very back.
Oh, okay, because Kelly actually thinks that that's real.
Actually,
and, like she tells me weekly.
Oh, the outrageous news.
Or every month she goes, yeah, the outrageous news. Every month she's like,
how gullible is Kelly?
She goes, did you see this? And I'm like, I'm listening. And I go, what are you reading again? Because it's when I bring home the Ion and the Echo. And I go, what is that? And she's like, it's in Ion. And I'm like, yeah, run with that. Tell other people.
For example, one of them was that Britney Spears took over Dear Abby's column.
Oh my God. It's everything. She really, I hear frequently, did you know? And I'm like, oh, what are you reading?
No, it's not true. It's not
There
true.
was one instance of, I wrote this, for the listeners who don't know, there is this section of a local magazine called Outrageous News. It's styled after these tabloid news articles that
like alien baby found in gutter.
Yeah, you know, corpse of woman gives birth to triplets.
Each story a delight.
It's very good.
I wrote one story that was called like North Scottsdale to open $99.99 only store. Where they would be selling they were going to be selling, you know, Petrosian caviar and Perrier Jouet and iPhones and La Mer for $99.99.
Kelly probably wanted to go there. She was like, shit, this is opening in March. We are going.
Seems legit.
We got a call at the office. Hi, I want to know what the address of the $99.
Oh my God.
Because that's in my price point.
There was also one when Scottsdale was the city of Scottsdale was really knuckling down on drunk driving, that that we wrote that they were going to be arresting drunk passengers. Vehicles. There's a woman who called up mad as a wet hen. This is not funny. I called the city of Scottsdale. They knew nothing about this, and this is
an outrage.
Up with which I shall not put.
It's back to the perfume counter for her.
One of the funniest things, there was a show in New York called City of Angels that I annoyed everyone to the breaking point. Like, Renee and Doug were ready to kill me. Anybody that knew me was ready to kill me. And finally, I went and got to see it. Like, I was forcing people into my car to listen to the cast album. And I came back and I trapped this poor soul in Newtown or something and just went on and on about it. And he wrote it up in the column as if it, like, he was there and, like, gave me some outfit. I can't remember, like, what are the big the diamonds called? What's the word for that? The print. Oh, Harlequin
print?
Harlequin. I was in a Harlequin print. She was resplendent in a Harlequin print shirt. And she walked to her seat. And it was so funny. Completely mocked me and, like, made me pay for a month of people reading it. But, like, shut the fuck up about this show.
And that was in the Outrageous News or in the Slings and Arrows?
No, it was in, like, the U-Report or Slings and Arrows.
Far earlier than Slings and
Arrows. I'm trying to think if you just wrote it up and just if David was still writing it then, but just gave it to him and was like, print this and shut her up.
That is fantastic.
Yes.
But it was all done with love.
Yeah. Oh, God, my God. It was
all right. It is 20. Wow.
But Quelle Supre, I was like, well, Quelle Supre, she is resplendent in a Harlequin print.
Quelle Supre.
And it has stuck. I've always pronounced that with a southern.
For the love of God. It is 8:20. It's a Tuesday night. You're in the studio with the show, and here we go.
We start off with an update on Lance Kerwin because Deon wanted to know where he'd been. We review the movie 42, the new Broadway show, something Motown. Brooke Shields is going to be directing Chicago at the Hollywood Bowl, so I guess she can do that too. Pitch Perfect gets a sequel, and I think I'm done.
What's the sequel called? Pitch Okay.
Pitch yeah. It's called Relative Pitch.
A little pitchy dog.
Off pitch.
Off pitch. Slightly. So Lance Kerwin lives on the LA drug and alcohol ranch called U-Turn for Christ and has a 6-year-old daughter. This was as of 2000. He's recently embarked on a missionary trip, and he is clean and sober through the 90s and his newfound religious beliefs, updated again in 2004. After many check-ins and out of rehab for drugs or alcohol problems during his teens and 20s, he's finally clean and sober. Most recently, he's newly converted Christian as of May 2004 and is an indoctrinated new priest minister. We update in July 2010. In Hawaii, placed on 5 years probation after pleading guilty to a theft charge. He falsified documents to obtain state medical assistance and food stamps, neglecting to mention he owned 3 properties on the mainland or that he was an ordained minister.
Can I get a big bless your heart?
Can I get a big who is Lance Kerwin?
It doesn't matter. It's just like this really obscure 70s star that he brought up today, and he was like, I wonder what he's up to.
He was kind of the male Molly Ringwald of his time on television.
Sure.
A teenager with a lot of angst.
Got it.
A lot of angst. And he was on
Molly Ringwald.
He was on a show called James at 15, and then it was James at 16. They kept changing the age every year.
When he was James at 24, Lance at 24.
And then he was on drugs.
Lance on drugs. Lance finds God and still a thief. And Pitch Perfect gets a sequel. It's scheduled for, and now I lost that headline. It is scheduled for 2014. This is definitely the little movie that could. Pitch Perfect was made for almost no money. Anna Kendrick, who's turning into she's got an Oscar nomination. She's one of the youngest Tony nominees ever. For her, she was in the musical version of High Society back in the 90s. Just a really talented girl, and made this movie for no money that went on and made a huge amount of money. The soundtrack is sold. It's like the Glee of the movies, where like the merchandising kind of justified everything. And I guess the DVDs had great sales, so they greenlit. And it was one of my favorites from last year. I thought it was a really, really...
One of your faves?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I thought it was one of those movies that should have at least... I thought it was just as good as Bridesmaids was. I thought if Bridesmaids couldn't get that much acclaim, so should Pitch Perfect.
I just did not enjoy Pitch Perfect as much.
Yeah, and
I don't know, and I love, and it's bizarre because, like you're saying, the Glee and the Smash and the whole thing, and I love theater and I love singing and I love choir music, but I didn't laugh as much as I did. I didn't when I went. That movie just didn't make me laugh.
Oh, see, now I was in a theater full of people. Like, it was like one of those things where everybody was laughing, so you got to kind of get caught up in it.
I do, and maybe I had, and it varies, right? Your movie going experience varies based on where you are and when you go. And I didn't go right when it came out. I went to Bridesmaids right when it came out, and I was pissing my pants on the floor laughing.
And the audience is helping because I saw Horrible Bosses with the crowd that was really laughing and kind of amping up the mood, and then I saw Horrible Bosses without the crowd, and I'm like.
Not
that
funny.
Not that funny.
I saw it at home.
Yeah,
and it was funny.
Yeah. It really does kind of depend the mood and who
I
you're
saw
with
it with 10 people
like
in the theater, and I just kind of went.
Yeah. But I really did love the music, and I'm a big fan of her voice.
It was Quelle Supre.
I don't want to drink, but I will. Quelle Supre. 42 opened this week, and
oh my God, desperate. I was about to say, don't give it away. I'm pretty sure I know how it goes.
He's black.
Is it the sequel to 41?
It is. 42. This time it's
the
personal.
Prequel to 43.
No, what Electric Boogaloo? What does Buddy always call the sequels?
Sounds right.
42 Electric Boogaloo, but now that sounds really racist. Now that I filter that through my head,
it is. Yeah.
So I know it's too early for Oscar chat, but it really isn't. I don't know how they.
Not for you.
I don't know if this movie was delayed, or if this was like the Gatsby, where they wanted to swing it a little bit later. Like, we don't know why Gatsby moved out of Oscar contention and into May. Do they think it's going to be more of a summer blockbuster, or do they want to get it out of the way of the people that were already the nominees were too locked down to throw one more movie in? We're never sure. Is it a disaster? What's going on? And 42 is the same thing. This is the dumping ground of movies. April, the only reason I can think of is because April 15th, yesterday, is Jackie Robinson's day. All the players in the National Baseball League all wear the number 42 right? on this day because it's the anniversary of him joining the league. So I wasn't sure if that weekend was significant and when they released it, but really well done.
So you're saying this is the dumping ground that nobody releases movies in April.
It's early September. There's no Memorial weekend is the weekend after Memorial. Late August, Memorial weekend, you'll get a big blockbuster that's usually about a car that turns into a robot and kills people. You know what I mean?
Michael Bay.
It'll be
Michael Bay's weekend.
Michael Bay's weekend. Nope. And then you'll get a dumping ground on either side because they need to find out what happens at the Toronto Film Festival. That's the next weekend. So this is a really shitty time because if this is an Oscar contender, you've got 9 months. Yeah. And it's going to be on video.
For people to forget about it.
It's going to be on video in August, which is going to take it out of that realm. It's just the timing is poor.
Now, I haven't seen it yet.
It's phenomenal.
I cannot wait. And I love the MIA song that they keep playing in all the previews, that we girls, we go hard, we go hard. It's this great song that just gets me riled up when I hear it. And I'm just so freaking excited for it.
It's really well. I don't know what that song would have to do with the movie, but yeah.
But they play it in all the previews, and it's very.
A surprise.
I know. But it gets. I guess
it is. It's the building up of. It's the music behind it. So lyrically, not probably.
No, but it might be that serve the job of getting people interested in the movie who might think, what the hell is this about?
Right, skewing younger.
Because the first time I saw the preview months ago, I was stoked from the get-go because of that song, because I love that that artist.
This is nowhere in this movie.
This is for 42. Yeah,
about Major League Baseball
or baseball, depending on what you're.
Yes.
That's how people are expecting us to pronounce it.
Quelle Supre.
Wow, that was a lot of spit.
So we're the girls who go hard for Major League Baseball. I would have figured that would have been for a League of Our Own.
I know. Yeah, and it might just be the.
No, it really is to get someone to pay attention.
It's the because if you've seen the preview,
I actually had not. I had not.
So it's the song is just sucks you in, and you go, oh my god! And the song's makes intense, sense. Yeah.
Because this is one of those movies, a biopic here in April,
with the suckling noise.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Like a biopic in mid-April, because I always like to see, when I go to Camel View and I see a foreign film, I'm always excited because those trailers are going to all be like Marnie saying, "What the hell is this?" Because that's how you're going to see 5 previews. They're going to if you go see a horror movie. your previews are going to be horror movies. If you're going to go see a comic book movie,
Comedy.
your previews will be for teenage boys. They may not all be comic books, but your previews are designed to hit who's in the theater already. They're not going to show you Atonement.
Shit you're not going to watch,
Or Amore is not going to all of a sudden play during Scary Movie 4. That's not the preview you're seeing.
Right.
So you'll just, you know what I mean? So it was weird. But anyways, we're off the topic. The movie is phenomenal. So well done. Phenomenal maybe too big. Maybe that's too much liquor.
But no. The story is phenomenal.
Oh, the story
is phenomenal.
The story is,
and so the movie is got to be just incredible.
And it's just head on. Like, we don't dodge around it. And he suffers from the sainthood that all movie heroes do. Like, we can't give him any kind of... There's no shading to his character at all. Like... He's not a saint. Like, is
it like a Ray? Like in the movie where everyone's like, Ray is
funny?
So great.
Huh?
Did you make it funny?
I came really close. This close. But it lacks that. Like, come on, this guy wasn't a saint. We can get some part of this. But the fact that no fighting back, no arguing against it, was that very pacifist.
God, I can't wait.
And it just drives it home that even though it's everyone screaming at you, the first thing you say, they'll be like, he attacked. Like, you will instantly be the attacker. And nominations, I don't know how it'll do as far as winning. We have no idea what's coming up. But I got to tell you, Harrison Ford's Oscar is signed, sealed, and delivered. Like,
that's what I've already heard.
I didn't even realize in the preview I saw. I didn't even realize it was him.
And it's a star turn from a man who really does not need a star turn. Like, it's.
I feel like
Buddy said that he's heard from people that knew of the character that it was spot on.
I think that's where I heard my very credible source was Buddy on Facebook saying that.
What is Harrison Ford? Who is he's not Jackie Robinson?
No. Yes, in a star turn.
That would be a star turn, all right.
He plays Dorothy Dandridge and Jackie Robinson. No, he is the Dodgers
coach
that just decides, and he gets a nice little turn. He gets his Oscar-worthy moment at the end where he finally gets confronted, like, why did you do this? Like, why are you putting me through this? And Harrison Ford gets and it's Brian Hildegard, I think is his name, that did L.A. Confidential. So he's owed an Oscar. This man's owed an Oscar because this L.A. Confidential is the only movie to sweep every critics award and then lose to Titanic. Like that's the only movie in history that. L.A. Confidential. It won because Titanic got released so late in the year that only the Golden Globes caught onto it. So it had won nothing. L.A. Confidential is the only movie to win every major critics prize up to the day and then not win Best Picture. So they kind of owe him. I think he might have got a screenplay Oscar for L.A. Confidential. But it's so well done, and they just confront the race. They just put the camera on the racism and make it uncomfortable. Like, you just have to watch racists react. And I'm hoping that, like, to tie it into like the gay marriage thing, like, now when people are saying thing and they're throwing that Bible at you, it was the same. Like, there is no difference. Fight. So you hope that people go see this and go, oh my God, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm justifying hateful speech. And I'm just,
God, I hope so.
And you really do tie it together, because there's parts of that where people are just saying the most, and they're supposed to be teammates, and these are supporters that are just saying the most horrible things. But it was the guy that plays him, whose name I don't know, phenomenal. His wife is really, really good, and the one that might get a nod, he's on Suburgatory. His name is Alan Tudyk. Just a tough part. I mean,
who's on Supurgatory? Because I know Supurgatory.
Jeremy Sisto. It's Jeremy Sisto's best friend.
Oh, the blonde guy.
This is one of those parts that you would have to read it and be like, can I not do this? Like, is there any way for me to not be associated? Because you could see
bad.
people like spitting on him in the street, and even Whoopi Goldberg. And one of the things was like, just please remember, if you see this man on the street, this is a character. He's an actor. Like, do not react.
Oh my God,
to it.
I just want to see it.
But I mean, it's a good 7 minutes of the movie where you're just like, oh, can we fast
so
forward?
Uncomfortable. I want to make a really quick note. It's not Hey Girls We Go Hard. It's actually Brooklyn, so it makes a little bit more sense.
Brooklyn
We Go Hard.
Brooklyn We Go Hard.
My apologies.
I'm back. Yep. Brooke Shields, the woman who seems to be able to just do anything if you give her enough time, because comedy musical.
God bless her.
She's had like 4 or 5 turns on Broadway, and almost all with good notices.
And suffered through postpartum depression.
I know, and the wrath and the wrath of one Tom
My role model,
sir or ma'am. She is taking Chicago to the Hollywood Bowl, which I think would be a lot of fun this July, and she is going to be the director, not the choreographer. I was worried. We have no illusions of grandeur here. But she's going to be directing it there, and Rob Fisher will be the supervising music director and got this whole thing started. And now she is pretty much a lock now. I thought it was going to be Allie Wentworth. What's Stephanopoulos' wife's name? Is it Allie Wentworth, the comedian? Blonde, tall?
Yes.
Allie Wentworth?
Yes.
I thought she was the lock to be next on The View, but I pretty much think we're getting a spring of Brooke Shields just getting comfortable in Joy Behar's chair. I thought it was going to be between the two of them, but because Allie Wentworth's already kind of married to ABC because of George, but kind of shocking. I'm still in love with Chris Cuomo. That's not really news.
I think Chicago at the Hollywood Bowl would be really fun.
Oh, have you ever been to see?
I've never been there.
If you go, I think every summer I think it's over the 4th of July, they do the Sound of Music sing-along. Every queen
I love it.
in the greater metropolitan Los Angeles area, they're singing along.
I'm going to try to go there.
And so with
this
Chicago at the Hollywood Bowl, everybody's going to be all Roxy.
Oh, I want to see how long the run is, because that is definitely what's going. And the Hollywood Bowl,
that's cool.
Honest to God, you can go and watch Brooke Shields read the phone book. Not because she's good at reading the phone book, but because the bowl, and it's one of those lifetime experiences. Like, it should be on your bucket list, is to see something there.
Oh, that's great. And Red Rocks, the Hollywood Bowl and Red Rocks are two.
Where's Red Rocks at?
Colorado, outside of Denver.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I think I have a concert with Sting. Or Michael Bublé, or
it would be anything.
Somebody a middle-aged woman would like. Yeah,
it's that same kind of thing. That anything there would be. I would love to see Mumford and Sons there, who we talked about before as winning all those awards, and because they're like a jam band, and so you can just like drink beer and dance outside in the rocks, and it's like
I'm
gorgeous.
serious. Because at the Hollywood Bowl, like I said, even if it's Brooks Shields reading the phone book, you're still going to find a reason to drink beer and dance. Because they pack picnic baskets.
Or maybe a Pinot Grigio.
There's picnic baskets.
Yeah, you picnic. You go there for a whole experience. And they don't want you to drive because they don't want the traffic. So
I want to die. I'm going to definitely... Like, if
you catch
Chicago,
buses from everywhere.
I love Chicago. But if there's an actual sing-along of The Sound of Music, which I sing to Palmer every single day,
oh, you'll have a riot there.
You should go.
Yeah, it's so much fun. And Mark Martinez, a decade ago, he had tickets to go see the Music of Spain at there, and I'm like, I'll go. Like, I really don't give a shit. I just want to go to the Hollywood Bowl. And it was the Bowl Orchestra, and it turns out Spain doesn't have a lot of music, so it was a short program, but it ended with 2 fireworks of all fucking things to Bolero with and it was a firework for every. I mean, my nipples are hard just talking about it. It was so beautiful, and we were so buzzed on wine. We had our picnic, and it was absolutely.
I mean, it's just like in a canyon.
You're in a canyon with gorgeous homes, and the rich people are looking down at you, literally.
One of my high school friends lived in LA and was going there. She's like a cool, chick, and she was always posting pictures of the Hollywood Bowl. And then I was very jealous.
A few years ago, I got to see Donna Summer did her great comeback at the Hollywood Bowl, because it's where Live and More parts of Live and More were filmed. I don't know. I never remember if it's the Universal Amphitheater or Hollywood Bowl, but I've been to both this year. But she was at the Hollywood Bowl, and it was so much fun. And it was the worst seats I've ever had for a concert. I've never had that shitty of a seat, and I didn't even care. It was so good, and everybody.
Wait, you saw Donna Summer at the Hollywood Bowl?
Oh yeah, wow. And they did not do fireworks for Last Dance. I was so pissed off. But I mean, seriously, like everybody was on the chairs dancing the whole show.
Well, there's parts of it are just like planks.
Planks of grass.
It's not fancy.
And we were singing and dancing.
You have that song's in my head now.
Liza Minnelli was there recently.
Oh, I would have died.
She's horrible, but she's Liza.
And I have to.
Her voice has really deteriorated.
It has, but she still pulled it off, because I saw her. Well, now it's been a while, probably 6 years ago. She thought she did the opening of the Mesa Art Center, but she was really second. Somebody had played the night before and no one told her.
That's embarrassing.
But it was when she was doing Minnelli on Minnelli, so she was doing all the songs from her father's movies. And she got to What Did I Have That I Don't Have, which kind of applied to her because she's older now. The voice isn't there. New hips, new knees. And she
Is that a song?
Yeah, it's from On a Clear Day You Can See Forever. So she came down stage and sang, just her on the stool, what do I have that I don't have? Or what did I have that I don't have? And wouldn't I be the late, great me if I knew how? And it's just this stirring song. Oh, and she killed it. I mean, like, the crowd was, like, wiping away tears, and we were on our feet going nuts. I was like... Is
on your good feet.
Oh, my good feet. Yeah, so good.
But
so good.
I bought one of her last CDs, and I mean, her voice is just so ragged.
And you'd think they would fix it.
If I were a silly girl.
Because now she's got a lisp and a saliva problem. Like, that's spot
Has she
on.
had a stroke?
No. She's had everything.
Deon has, however.
She had like encephalopathy. She had all kinds of... She's had every disease possible. But she did the one album called Gently, where she did the duet with Donna Summer, where they did Does He Love You? And it was just so weird to hear Liza trying to keep up with Donna, and I'm like,
I think that's the album that she sings Chances Are.
And it's her make-out album, and it's like, oh, I wouldn't make out to this. I'd be looking for medical attention for you, dear.
But back to Brooke Shields.
Okay, so that's Brooke Shields' big thing this summer. She's going to be directing that. And then speaking...
Oh, I wish she would show up in it. Because,
she may play Roxy. Because she played Roxy in London and on Broadway. So she may step in, depending on how big a star they get to sell it. She may step in for a time.
And she's become one of these people that, I mean, I admire the hell out of her.
Yeah.
For a lot of reasons. Surviving her mother, Terry Shields. But she's just famous for being famous, too.
Yeah. And had a streak where she could act. And,
when she did her Suddenly Susan, which shocked the hell out of everybody.
Yeah, that she could be funny. Here was this... a child... She's the Gerber baby. Like, she's famous since the day she was born. She's the Gerber baby, for the love of God, and still is. And I don't think they've updated that kid.
I couldn't honestly tell
I don't think she's the Gerber baby.
Yeah, she's the Gerber baby. Because Jodie Foster's the Coppertone girl, and she's the Gerber. Like, they've both been famous since...
But, she was somebody that really should have just kind of...
faded out. I mean, Pretty Baby... she made at 12, she made Pretty Baby with Louis Malle and just Quelle Supre. I mean, it was just... It's a fantastic movie.
Exactly. You know how to use a bell.
And her, then it's like... She kind of became, the Calvin Klein... jeans girl, and
but she sold a lot of Calvin Kleins.
Oh my! But she's Brooke Shields. Like,
yeah,
she's like the female Matt Dillon.
Yeah,
they're just great for being them.
What would Calvin Klein's have caught on to the same effect without her and that controversy and that ad campaign? And like, I don't think so. Calvin Klein probably would have made it big eventually, but she made him a household name. Like, she was way more famous than Calvin Klein was.
Oh, absolutely.
At that time, yeah.
Absolutely.
So, and then, all right, so I think that's all I remember about that.
I'm scanning through trying to find exactly...
and then Motown opened. And is it called Motown? Because I can't find the link you sent me. I can't remember where you sent that to me from.
I sent it from
Facebook? Okay,
yeah.
I can find that. So I read the review yesterday. Motown, it's a jukebox musical, and I have to tell you, there's good jukebox musicals, there's bad jukebox musicals. Smokey Joe's Cafe worked when it shouldn't. Lieber and Stoller's, Hound Dog, right. On Broadway, Stand By Me, like every song you've ever heard of, and they put together a little tiny story in a cafe. Well, this is a jukebox musical about Motown, and Berry Gordy Jr. wrote it himself, God bless him. Mm-hmm. Again, dead or alive. I thought he died like 5 years ago.
Still alive.
Still alive. They said the book is terrible, but that all the performers, like the girl that plays Diana Ross, is really good. And I guess there's one kid that plays like little Stevie Wonder, Michael Jackson. Like, they have one person that does like all the young performers, and then they have someone that does like Rick James, and I can't remember who the other one is. But they're saying like, and if you're going to do a jukebox musical, this is the best jukebox to pull from. You have some of the greatest American music, of all time. Like, there just
and that
really
everybody knows.
Yeah, that there just is not a better catalog of music to call from, and that's why it works. They're like, there's so many problems with the book, but then they hit you with a song, and you're like, well, I love that song, so right. I'm okay.
You're willing to forgive a multitude of sins because of the great music. Huh?
That they get Diana Ross's like half shyness, half tiger. Like that little voice that you think can't sing anything, but then she's taking on really complex tunes that when you go to sing, you're like, this shit's hard. How does she do it in a whisper? So, and they just talk about all the different people. And an opening night, Diana showed up. She didn't do her Dreamgirls thing where she was like, this is not This isn't a fucking story. It's my life. Oh, here we go. It says it right here. It's no secret that Ross wasn't a fan of Dreamgirls.
Right.
So, I mean, it's kind of cool that it's playing, and it's a way to go and see
like they had like other
Motown
people,
on Broadway.
Like I heard like Mary Wilson was there, and obviously Barry Gordy's there as well. But my first question is, well, did he immediately want to hit on the younger version of Diana Ross?
Yeah. Can I impregnate her too? Yeah. The picture that they have is Barry Gordy Jr., who looks pretty good. Diana Ross, who still looks good, and Mary. So
Wilson.
You don't see much of Diana Ross these days.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I don't know why she would.
We were talking about her the other day, that she's somebody who's kind of.
And there's no real reason for her to be in hiding. Like, she can still sing, she can still sell it. Like, there's that's one of those ones that I know. But she also married that $1 billion guy that died. She married the guy that died in the ski accident.
Sonny Bono?
Yes.
Yes, oddly.
That was my first.
Or was it a Kennedy?
And I can't. His name was Arnie something or other. Arnis something or other.
Oh.
But she had twins by him, so she's got billions and billions, because he had one older daughter that's
Aaron. Or was it Aaron?
No, I can't. It was like Arnis or something like that.
That sounds right.
Yeah, she married him, had twins at an advanced age. He died after they divorced, but she got all the money from him because his daughter is a big singer too. She sings one of my favorite songs called Charm Attack, and I can't think of what her name is. But I'm sure that Katie's about to Google
She just wrapped up a winter tour for 2013. She wrapped it up in February, actually. She had 12, 13 dates.
Dinah Ross did?
Yeah.
I guess I need to stalk her page.
She hit San Antonio, Texas, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Houston, and Biloxi, Mississippi.
Why is she doing the Bible Belt?
Really big metropolis of America.
That was her winter tour 13, according to this.
Not Tucson, Arizona.
If that's not a B tour, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
Maybe she was doing B-sides.
All right.
B-sides in the B tour.
It was a surprise to everybody.
Quelle Supre. So I guess we have to. We're gonna hit on it. We'll call this your guns section, because it is. I mean, it's out there.
So we're wrapping.
I honestly had a hard time finding headlines around this to go with. But the Boston Marathon yesterday, just a shocking, probably one. I mean, I can't think of an event that has more goodwill towards it. I mean, there's no political aspirations to it. It's a worldwide event. It's a holiday. It's Patriots Day. It's got they've been celebrating, and is it the 104th running? Like, I can't even remember. Like,
no, it's like 127th.
Yeah,
really.
It's a big number.
It's long, long time.
And Massachusetts has had this as a state holiday forever. Like, even since Barbara Walters was a girl. I didn't realize it was that.
That's a long time.
Which makes it even worse because it's a state holiday, because it's such a beloved event by Bostonians. It's a family affair.
Right. So it's everything, and then, I mean, this is their goodwill tour to the entire world. Like, people come. This is one of the biggest.
They said today, they said how many states, and like 27 countries or something. Mm-hmm. They were runners.
They were
runners all over the world.
And just shocking, but that, and two things stuck with me. One from the evil side, which I'll get out of the way fast, is that if you do want to hurt runners, that these things went off at foot level.
Right.
Like, you're aiming for a runner. Like, everything detonated, everything affected lower extremities. These people were like,
children.
This is because of the height, and just a malicious act. And originally it was said that the Newtown families were in the VIP stands nearby, and it turns out there were a couple.
They dedicated the 26th mile.
Each mile was to a victim. Each mile was dedicated to a victim.
Is that right?
Yeah, because there was 26 miles and 26 victims.
Damn. And then the 26th mile was specifically, from what I understood, I didn't know that, but that's very touching.
It makes all of it worse.
Yeah, but I know the 26th mile where they had the banners that were, the top half of the banner was all Boston Marathon, and the bottom half of the banner was all, we salute you, Newtown. And,
Well, I got to say, there's America gets really good at all of its, chest thumping and saber rattling and all that. But I really have to admire some of the people of Boston, that after something so horrific that happened, after such an honored tradition, that they said, Americans being Americans, and I know this sounds just so Reaganist. They said you picked the wrong city to fuck with.
I have that literally written down.
I thought, you know what, bully for you.
Yeah,
well, and from all of them, because that's some tough people. Like, these are not nice neighborhoods that they were going. Like, as they were going and interviewing people,
the Southeast.
Yeah, you're interviewing these people. I'm like, you're gonna fuck with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
there was whoever the author
New Kids
is,
on the Block.
The author of like
he ran. One of them.
Oh, really?
One of them was he finished Joey McIntyre.
Joey McIntyre was in the race.
He finished like 2 minutes before.
Before that, Joey McIntyre was very close to the explosion.
Because Donnie Wahlberg was asking people to like, I'm concerned for everybody, but if you could tell me about my friend, like if you see him, just can you put something on Twitter that he's okay? Like, can you give me a hashtag? So it was very good. But and as I watched the video last night, because I wasn't feeling really well, so I was up for a little while, and because you can't really see much. Like the camera angles are all kind of far away, but the first thing you see is like the hordes of people running in that just run towards an explosion to help people. And then it was, the people that were there to help with dehydration, shin splints, cramps, probable heart attacks from doing something like a marathon, that they just ran in and helped and like just started pulling apart that barricade with like, and then a bomb goes off like 12 seconds later. Nobody backed off. Like nobody ran the other way. They just kept digging with another bomb going off. And I couldn't stop. That's all I kept seeing was like, who are these superheroes that just run into, and it wasn't just, it was firemen, but it just was like regular people. And then the really funny thing was there was people that really thought it was like a cannon blast or some kind of celebration.
Well, yeah.
And they continued and finished and marked their time and then turned around and were like, oh.
Bad thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't know though. I mean,
because I mean,
but it's funny your comment there, and I know that this isn't an original thought. The bromide that's emerged on Facebook is the Mr. Rogers quote.
Oh yeah, the helpers.
Whenever he was a child and saw disasters, his mother would say, "Don't look at that. Look for the helpers.
Mm-hmm.
There will always be people helping."
Right.
Well,
which is a really lovely thought.
Yeah.
And that's what people have been talking about a lot on the news, which is the positive spin, is that people have been talking about, and Patton Oswalt started this. He had this big, viral Facebook post that basically just said, you know what, go fuck yourselves. Like, whoever did this, what you were doing was seeking to, divide and destruct and, hurt Americans and hurt us, but what you have really done is helped us prove to ourselves how strong we are,
and now we just don't need to invade a country.
Always prevail. Well, and that's
and now we got to keep it in check and not invade a country.
Right, exactly. Like bad begets bad. That doesn't help. We need to be the stronger people. But what has made me crazy about it, and I know that we aren't going to spend a ton of time, but what's made me really crazy is that it has been very much politicized already, which makes me feel like a crazy person from both sides, from the Republicans and the Democrats. The Democrats are saying, well, it's the Republicans the Democrats. Some of the Democrats have said if the Senate Republicans wouldn't block the ATF, the leader of the ATF nomination, this wouldn't have happened. That has nothing actually to do with what this was.
Right, because it was very well controlled, very well. That's why it had to be small, because they had bomb sweeps. They had tons of security, and you can still fuck with people. That's scary.
Yes, and there are Republicans who have said, well, this is exactly why we should not be passing any kind of an immigration reform, because this was probably an immigrant of some sort.
But look at the Oklahoma City bombing.
That's
a perfect example.
And that went on for weeks.
Oh, you're exactly right.
Like, it was like, oh my gosh, it was somebody from another.
No, it was someone right here. It was not even. It was not even a homegrown, it wasn't even like a. You look at some of the other. Gosh, what bombing do I think of that was, or shooting or bombing, or that was a Pakistani American.
Fort Hood?
I don't know. There was another one that was I was on the long list of things I was looking at today. It was on the news. But anyhow, he
was from North Tonawanda, like right outside of Buffalo, or North Tonawanda, or he was from Wheatfield, or one of those little towns in Western New York that you're like.
But the other thing that made me a little bit crazy, and maybe this is just me, is that the media has continued to use the word terror. And here's the thing. I get that it's this was terrifying, right? And so ultimately this is terror. It's terror and it's terrifying and it's terrorism.
But we have to call that the Benghazi effect, because remember, that's why we're in all this trouble with Benghazi.
Yes.
Was because they didn't call it an act of terror.
Well, I don't know.
So now we have to make Michelle Bachmann happy, and you have to call it terrorism.
It makes me so frustrated because I feel like terrorism used in kind of the like the everyday vernacular. When people are talking about terrorism, they're talking about Middle East, Al Qaeda.
Right,
they're talking about
there's domestic terrorism.
There is domestic.
Sure.
But I don't know.
That's what got them in so much trouble, and why Michelle Bachmann won't get that air, and John McCain won't shut the fuck up, because he said it wasn't an act of terror. Like, that one word is going to make those 4 dead people somehow less dead or more dead, or something is going to be affected by what word you choose in the Sunday morning news shows. And that's why Obama wouldn't say it at first. In his first press conference, he wasn't
Benghazi.
saying with this.
With this one.
But then everyone was saying, and like Elizabeth Hasbeck was on the news station, she's like, well, it's terror, it's terrorizing, you have to call it an act of terror, because now that the Republicans have to stick to it, because they were so clear in Benghazi that that's why everybody needs to be impeached and go away, is because they never said the word terror. It's just
weird, because maybe I was just too young, but I don't, 9/11 happened when I was a senior in college, and I never thought about or heard about terror before that. And we had the bombings of, the Oklahoma City bombings, and we had other...
But until they solved that was, they thought that was...
So they still called that an act of terror.
It was domestic terrorism, but they didn't know that at first. They thought it was some foreign source coming over here, and they were calling it terror. And you should see the people they were trying to blame it on, like the horrors that were going around in the media, until they landed on this purest of white American military guy, and then they're like, oh no, what do we do with that?
I've heard some people speculate, though, that the word of terror or terrorism is anything that undermines you psychologically or spiritually. Whether it's abroad or domestic.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get into the whole semantics
of
what that word is.
And that's what it comes down to, semantics. And one of the things in a psychology class that I took was like your list of what's important to you. What needs do you have to take care of before you get to like becoming a developed person? Like, if you don't have these, and the one was like food and shelter was number 1.
Yep.
Like, you will never be a well-adjusted, sane person if you can't find food and shelter. And number 2 was security. So if you don't have a feeling of security, you're never going to make rational choices, whether it's like at home, like a woman being terrorized at home, a child being terrorized. Any of these people that are in these situations, they don't feel safe. They can't get to make good choices. They can't get there. First, they have to secure their security. They have to be safe.
Safety and feel.
And so that's what this that's what this feeling is. And as soon as I got that, because I'm like, why do people go off the deep end? Like, why do we like take these things and then like invade a country a minute later? Like, what about that? And it's because you have to there has to be a feeling of, we are secure, we can take this and do something else. Like, you know what I mean? And so that's why bullies often are bullied. So they have to get their security from bullying someone else. They have to go pick on someone else so they can feel secure somewhere else. It's that, and it's a very strange construct, but it makes, I think it helps to understand why people just can't get rational. Until
I guess, and that's just what has made me crazy about the whole thing, is that it's, I guess, and what I'm hearing is that it is just kind of my thought process is like, when I hear terror, I automatically think of the Middle East, and I think that's what everyone else is saying, I guess. And it's like, these are Middle Easterners, and it hasn't been, we don't know that yet. I guess I just feel like, what we're feeling, and not even we in Arizona, for Christ's sake, like for the Bostonians are feeling, like how people in Syria, how the general normal population in Syria feels every day, is that they go through this.
Because we are very behind on acts of terror.
And I feel like a lot of Americans portray anyone in the Middle East as terrorists.
Yeah.
And that's why there was a TV show called, My Muslim Family. And it was like an A&E reality show or something. And it was just about a family that was Muslim and a young high school girl, and they were Muslim. And it was on the air for like 1 episode because people went apeshit. And they're like, we're not showing terror on TV. So when I hear, and I'm going, that's not terror. That's like a random family that's American that practices Muslim religion. So it makes me feel crazy. When I hear terror, my head goes there, and I guess that's just kind of the way I've been ingrained as well.
The shooting that just happened at the Sheik, what was it, the Sheik Temple? I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone, they're like, we're not them. Like, we like same hat, different. Like we don't believe with like we're not the same religion.
Yeah.
And it was so disheartening.
I know. We're wrapping this up. The other thing is that Westboro Baptist Church, it's old. It's getting old, Westboro. Like, nobody really cares. They've already, of course, they're going to protest, and of course, all this happened because gays are around, and it's just old to me.
I didn't have the strength to gay, because usually after a tragedy, I Google.
Or giggle.
I gaggle blame gays just to see who got there first.
Well, it's always Westboro, and they're old. The one other thing that is just, that made me say to Kelly today, what the fuck is really going on? The second pipe bomb in Coconino County has been found this in the last week. It was in the forest. It had not been detonated. It's been out there for a couple of weeks. They found with rain and all this kind of debris on it. So it's been out there long enough to be to have been there during the rainstorms as of late. But crazy.
Yeah.
It's just is crazy town and what's going on in the world. Hashtag no hashtag.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, the American government blew up nuclear bombs in Utah because it's barren wasteland. Why not practice your pipe bombs?
There's a pipe bomb in the forest.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was just on the news today, and I'm like, why are people doing this?
We are at the end of hour 2. Deon, unfortunately, I think you've got to leave. Or can you stay?
15 more minutes.
Oh, we can get you through maybe the third hour. The dog is still fine, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Mabel's alive at the moment.
Q Talk America is not responsible for any injuries sustained to the dog.
We love Mabel.
Anywho, it is the end of hour 2. We're going into hour 3. A little bit of a game we call Would You Rather and some thoughtful vulgarity coming up. Stick around. It's Q Talk America on a Tuesday.
You've been listening to the show on Q Talk America. This is Q Talk America.
The following broadcast contains adult humor, language, and topics, along with partial nudity. Actual knowledge is used sparingly. The show is a result of a lost bet and a bad game of rock, paper, scissors. It's the show with Clayton McKee. And now, a man with a face for radio, Clayton McKee.
Oh my God, I've got buttons to push. I'm trying to figure. Oh, I guess we're okay. I hit the right button apparently. It's the beginning of hour 3. It's a Tuesday night. You are listening to Q Talk America. This is the show. We come to you each and every week from 7 to 10. In this week's studio, we need a piece of paper and a pen. Both things. Al's needing things from me. In the studio with us, Katie June, Al Perkins, and our special guest this week is Deon Brown.
Can they hear me waving?
By the way, just to let you know, Marnie is not gone, not forgotten. She is actually celebrating her 2-year anniversary with her girlfriend Erin on this night. And I would be remiss if I didn't say this. This is an interesting or a milestone night for us. And Deon, it's interesting that you're here with us. This is actually our 52nd show. That means we have been doing shows for a single year. I don't know if it's next week or the week after, whichever way. We're coming up on an anniversary celebration here at Q Talk America for us. That's a lot. It seemed to go very quickly. Now, obviously, we started with Buddy early, and Marnie and Al, and Katie was kind enough to step in when Buddy had to do a job change. But here we are, a year later, and we're still going. And
what's happening with Buddy's job change now? Doesn't he want to?
He was trying to figure out any way at all possible to get back here.
Yeah.
Yes, any way at all. But it would be fun because I think we could easily do a five woman show.
Yeah, and if you're friends with Buddy on Facebook, he now does his unpretentious film blog.
Yes,
which is always
really good,
always fun.
I read it. I like it.
I didn't get to see what his thoughts were on 42, but I think we were at the same. I feel bad because I think we were at the same showing in the same theater.
Stop! And you didn't even know.
Well, I wasn't in the mood to look around for people. But I honestly did. I was sitting at home and it was like 6:35, and I saw on Movie Phone 42 starts in 25 minutes, and I was like, well, I got to shower, I got to drive to the theater, I got to get a seat. I enjoyed movie popcorn.
Oh, I enjoyed that. Now, are we going? Which?
Well, Katie's got some stuff.
Katie's got
business.
I don't have.
I have to interrupt you. May I just? Kel, please.
And I'm actually going to chime in on what we were just talking about too a minute ago, just for a brief moment.
Well, we'll just take care of something in the chat room. Arrested Development new episodes online May 24th. Boo fucking yeah.
Wow.
Feel free to come over to wherever it is I live on May 24th and watch it with me because we'll be having a good fucking time.
Because another thing happened and I said, oh, The Walking Dead season finale. I said, I'm coming over. And I didn't. But I'm coming over on May 24th.
And I almost texted you, but I was afraid you were going to ask me to shower, and that was not happening that night.
Okay, so May 24th, Al, it is going on the calendar.
I'm 98% sure the date. Clayton, your thoughts on our last topic?
The only thing I was going to say is I always think, and based on all of the past many years of watching different tragedies that have happened, I always believe that there is volumes of information in silence. Meaning, they keep saying they have no suspects, they have no this. They're looking for pictures. Everybody's donating all their digital pictures from the day, videos, all this stuff. I don't give a shit what. The lovely veil of justice, if they don't say anything, that doesn't mean they don't have anything. That just means that they're protecting what they got because they may, I don't know. I'm just saying, I think over the years of what we've seen with different ways that the law enforcement has reacted to different things, I think there's volumes to be said for silence. So if they're not telling us that they've got something...
Right, but the biggest thing to come out of this is if you see something, say something. It doesn't matter what it is, however small... If you see something suspicious, especially when you're at a big event like this, because now we know that there's nothing sacred. Like, there's nothing political about this. Like, this isn't a federal building. It wasn't to destroy
and it wasn't
buildings
big, massive
or symbols
bombs.
Of tower.
Right? So, they weren't like, they were pressure cookers.
So
this
is where the ordinary person sees someone
bombs.
set down a backpack or set down a bag and then walk away. Something's wrong with that picture. And if you have time to Instagram every fucking minute of your life and put on Facebook every time you take a shit or go to the gym, just call someone.
Don't confuse those two.
Say something.
But you know what is really terrifying is that we went to Feast on the Street this last week, which was actually very cool, by the by. A downtown Phoenix Feast on the Street.
Oh, okay.
It was a very downtown Phoenix,
1 mile long,
one mile table.
Yes, and it was really cool. It was all about being like kind of sustainable Phoenix and gardening and composting and shit that I'm never gonna do. Right. But it's really cool.
I like that you admit flat out.
Sure. Composting. That's a real commitment.
It's really cool to know that other people are doing it.
Yeah.
And we went there, but it's even like I go and it's just totally scary that, and I'm not going to live my life in a bizarro bubble of fear, but it's scary that we could be down there with our daughter and enjoying our afternoon, and something like that could happen. Right, it's very scary.
We're very lucky here. We're very lucky. I mean,
do you feel like we're insulated here?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're a low profile city. We're a low profile city.
We have.
We're the sixth largest.
America, we haven't seen a war fought on our grounds since the Civil War.
Right.
Except for bombs all over.
There's been.
We've got the McVeigh.
Yeah, I mean,
a little bit of that.
When you think England went through the IRA, you know what I mean? They did all that where there were constant acts of terrorism through the 70s and 80s. Israel had airplane security long before we even thought of it. I mean, they had locks and nobody was hijacking an Israeli jet. El Al Airlines was pretty much the model.
El Al, that's the one I keep thinking of.
Yeah,
El Al.
that's the airline that had it figured out, and we never used their models. Like, these countries around the world are so used to acts of terrorism on a constant basis. We've had 3. And we invade countries over them. Settle down. Keep calm and carry on.
I knew a girl who was a Bosnian refugee here, and she was in grade school and saw her classmates blown up next to her.
Right.
This is
wow.
Yeah.
That's
you were talking
horrifying.
about. I want to address briefly. Al mentioned. Be aware of your surroundings and the backpack that's just sitting there. I have a friend who he had decided at one point that he needed to purge his life of things that were not of the best moral fiber. So he had half a dozen VHS tapes of pornographic nature.
Oh, he sounds like a good guy.
And he decided, I've got to get these out of my life. I have too many impure thoughts. So he packed them in a backpack. He's in Seattle or Portland. He goes on the bus. He leaves the backpack at the bus stop.
No.
I'm just going to leave these here.
Bad choices. People make bad.
People came up. Oh, young man, you left something at the bus stop. The porn he could not get rid of.
Oh my God, that's great.
Wasn't a bomb. It was pornography.
But still, I mean, in this day and age, how long ago was that incident?
This was a while back.
Well, within the past 10?
Probably beyond. Probably,
oh, okay.
Probably about
when
15.
they still made VHS players.
Yeah, that's why I made the point of saying VHS tapes.
Oh, I still have VHS, and I own about 7 VHS players because people keep donating things to me. But you never know what you're going to need to play.
You're about to give it a big cardboard box of porn back, so.
Oh no, we're gonna figure that. If it has gone through the Al filter and you don't even want it, we'll donate.
I can even watch
bad.
it.
Yeah, then it's bad. Then it's just bad.
And clearly, nobody that breaks into your house wants to steal it. So we will not. Nobody wants it anymore. Oh, for the love! All right, it is. Are we done? Are we wrapped up with that? Can we move on to our next segmente?
Oh, we can move on. The only one other thing is I wanted to give it this day in history.
Oh, go ahead.
Da, da, da.
Oh, I love this.
I wish I had music for that.
I know.
I could use the sports.
That'll give me something to do this week.
There are lots. Yeah. You were obviously bored.
I could use the sports opening.
I have a sports, but it's not, the sports is not as important.
Right,
but this day in history. So, and okay, this is very, very sad, but this is a Guns, Guns, Guns headline.
Oh, okay.
That this day in history, Cho Sang-hui did the, I know, right, in 2007 committed the Virginia Tech
oh my
massacre.
God. How long ago?
That was in 2007.
Yeah, 6 years.
Wow, that has been that long.
And that happened where he killed 30 more. Killed 2 students in a dorm and then killed 30 more 2 hours later over at Virginia Tech. And so that happened.
Really?
That happened today.
Time goes so quickly, doesn't it?
In 2007.
My mom always tells me that.
Was there 32 dead in that story?
It looks like it. Killed 2
why are they...
and then 30 more 2 hours later. And then his suicide brought the total to 33. He killed himself. Which really makes me crazy.
If he would have done that in reverse order, we'd have been so better off.
Son of a bitch. Just kill yourself. If you're unhappy and life is bad, write a note and talk about all the people you hate and then just blow your brains out.
Because, I mean, there was a thing on the news today where they said that the Boston Marathon was the biggest tragedy since 9/11, and I was like, there's only 3 dead here, so I'm gonna put Newtown, Virginia Tech.
Any of those. I think it's just on the scale. Probably Newtown was or these were like school shootings. That was like a citywide.
Right, but acts of terror and a lot more people dead. I mean, this one is horrible. Someone had their jaw blown off from what I heard.
That's what I heard too.
Wow.
And legs. Like someone saw someone with both their legs. Anyway. The other thing, on a happier note.
Let's ramp this up. Yes. Okay.
In 1997, April 14th, 1997, a very large star, and not large in size, but large in scope, unveiled her big secret on the most famous cover of Time magazine. Who is she?
Ellen
DeGeneres. Wow.
Came out in 1997 on April 14th, so this week.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's really exciting. And really, she's just been such an incredible trailblazer and has, I think, changed the hearts and minds, right? They say, a gay person, your hearts and minds are changed. Of so many people.
She's a terrific ambassador for the gays.
She's really, really fantastic.
I love it when she said
JCPenney.
And JCPenney. Yeah, Harrison will love that. He's a wonderful ambassador.
I like it. Something more. What's more, down home
than fucking JCPenney.
I know.
And she's lovable. She's absolutely gorgeous on high definition television. If you have never seen that woman on high def TV, she holds up really well.
Let's not gloss over, and I'm not taking anything away from Ellen because I love her as well, and I think that she's phenomenal, and I love her, her phrase of "my haters are my motivators." Totally agree with her on this.
I love her.
Now, let's not gloss over the fact that what just happened with JCPenney. JCPenney fired the CEO that put her as their spokesperson and rehired the original one back because the sales plummeted. I'm not saying it has anything connection to her, but because of the changes that the CEO, the CEO made, the things where he was no longer going to have any great sales, he was just going to have everyday low prices, and it was literally like all of the customer base revolted against that. I'm not saying at all that has anything to do with her being a spokesperson because I think the commercials
because they had
funny.
like JCPenney days or something right? Didn't their sales events have some kind of
things
slogan?
like that. But they literally, the guy who was in, I think he was 16 months in in the job. He was fired. The original CEO was rehired back, and they're trying to scramble to fix their stuff.
But he stood by her though when the quotation 1 million moms.
The
hashtag like a few hundred.
Right, the 10,000 women that may or may not have known what they were doing.
So Clayton, I heard that same story, and what's great is that they didn't attribute it at all. When I heard it on NPR, which may or may not be a little bit biased, but they didn't attribute it at all.
No, you're right. No, they didn't.
Actually, NPR really isn't.
Well, right, and it was great because they did talk about it, and they talked about more.
If you're watching Fox News, they think NPR is biased.
Less than Ellen. It was more of they came in and kind of drastically changed the pricing structure.
Right, that's why I understood it to me.
It had nothing to do with Ellen.
Right.
I don't believe it did.
If it had something to do with Ellen, she wouldn't be on every afternoon talk show and whatever. And she's like Oprah of Channel 3. Channel 3 should have sunk 30 years ago when it stopped being an ABC affiliate.
But Oprah held it.
Oprah kept that thing afloat.
And now Dr. Oz and Phil and all the other ones. So there's that.
God bless Ellen.
I totally love Ellen.
Thank you for coming out.
I wish I could watch her more, but I really don't. I record it every day, and I still don't watch the goddamn thing. All right, are we? I think it's 9. How are you? Are you good, Deon? I don't want to interrupt you.
I've got about 3 more minutes.
All right. So
do you not have somebody who can take care of this dog?
All right, Deon, we have a question for you. Where were you when you found out John Candy was dead?
He's dead?
Well, it was 1980. I was in a hay barn in Missouri, Galesburg, Missouri.
Grudge fucking some girl. I was
at my aunt and uncle's farm. I was actually shoveling hay out of a barn in 1980. Swear to God.
Did he really die in 1980? No, because I was born in 1980, and he was not dead then.
John Candy's in like a vacation movie. I'm
sorry, I'm thinking John Belushi. My bad, John Belushi. John Belushi
died, but John Candy was still allowed to do like Uncle Buck, which I watched when I was little.
I'm terribly sorry. I'm sorry.
I want to say like 88, 89. He was part of the rape and pillage of the late 80s.
John Candy died in
or Chris Farley if you want to update a little.
John Candy, March 4th, 1994.
Wow, lived longer than I thought. This is why I always lose on Dead or Alive.
1994?
1994.
What were you doing when you found out Abraham Lincoln was dead?
I was enjoying a lovely show called My American Cousin. That was Deon. I asked Deon to write me a question.
I edited myself on something just now. I'll tell you later.
All right, so we'll do
like Barbara Seville told me one time.
We'll play the real music after he goes.
Okay, go.
Okay. We'll go with Harrison's question. What was the best thing about your favorite job ever? Like, what was it that made your favorite job?
Done.
My favorite job ever. I worked as an operator on the 1-800 lines for international mail.
Stop it! That requires more
This was in the mid '80s, and you have no idea. I mean, how much fun it was. People would call up and, what's the shirt like on page 32? It's like, well, it looks a little bit more blue than it photographs in the catalog, and it's got more of a blousey cut. It was the 80s.
It's more of a blue
blousey.
What about the pants on page 54? It's like, the Greek Mariners pants. Well, they've got about 54 pleats, and it's a full cut Hollywood waistband.
Well, Hollywood, and the worst part is, I know what that means.
I don't, but I love it.
People say, "Well, I have a problem."
We would call them mom pants now.
What's your problem? Well, what kind of underwear would I buy to wear underneath those pants? My problem is I'm very well endowed. It's really embarrassing.
And then you'd say, "Thanks, Paul Harvey.
You can trust me. I'm a trained professional."
My address is.
How well endowed are you? Oh, but it was, and there were like regular people who would call. There was a guy from Tampa, Florida, who would call about the football shorts.
Tampa, Florida, are you here?
Next caller.
And but the people we worked with was like, "Hey, everybody, I got the guy from Poughkeepsie. He wants to talk about the Fundoshi."
The fuck does that mean?
It was like some sort of a diaper-looking thing.
The Fundoshi.
They had these weird names for all of their
Is it a sarong? No, sorry.
Fucking something sarong.
It's a rap.
Sarong. But the international mail job, working as the phone sex. I mean, the 1-800 operator.
Phone sex.
God! Wait. It was Sir Deon Brown. Did it get dirty?
Oh my God! All the time.
Did you not hear my having too big of a penis?
Well, yes, but okay. Maybe it's just like
word penis.
Maybe it's just my virginal mind that is thinking that they're really curious.
Was that vaginal mind?
What was it? If you were a Republican senator, that's what you would mean.
Well,
that was in the story as well.
I have a wide stance.
As you're looking at Kirby the dentist, how would you ever think impure thoughts?
That is wild to me.
I just remembered, like, on week 2, we described you. I was giving you credit for a joke in week 2, and I was trying to describe you to someone.
I feel like I may or may not be blushing right now thinking about Deon's phone sex.
Other people, they were like, "Are you in the catalog?" I'm like, "Well, who do you like the best?" I was like, "I like the guy on page 52 in the lower right hand corner."
Coincidentally, that's
me.
Me. Well, Quelle Supre.
Cheers.
When I'm not lounging around the beach in my Biscayne pants, I'm answering
with a Hollywood waistline. I'm confusing all my geography.
Please explain for listeners who don't know, like me, what the fuck is a Hollywood waistline? We would call them
mom jeans, and it's that.
They have a high-rise waistband.
They're coming back.
And if you watch, like, Robert Mitchum was always famous for wearing them.
They didn't have a constructed waistband like what we have nowadays. They just sort of like came up and were hemmed under, so they're very slender.
It was almost a Sansa belt moment.
It's like coming back. It's like it's like a pant that people are wearing again.
Right.
Now.
Watch your Gregory Peck movies.
Very 80s.
Yeah, but it came from the 50s. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very bro.
And it was something because the pleats then go all the way up to the waistband. Back when they had.
But you had to be. I mean, it was another one of those clothing choices, like anything from the 70s, that if you did not weigh the exact poundage on the label, like it didn't matter what your waist was. Hollywood was one size, like hip to waist to chest size.
Yeah.
And if you didn't fit it, you was just like a blob.
Like an idiot, right?
Yeah.
And
they were high waisted, so like a girl like me with a big ass bringing the caboose couldn't wear any of that
Kim
shit.
K is working that out these days.
Right. Exactly.
And Kim K may look
she is
like
the size of a San Diego Mission.
She looks bad. Pregnant Kim K needs to put on some maternity pants. But regardless, she's famous and she's working it out. So you could have too, Al.
That happens. Deon, do we have to say goodbye to you, sir?
I'm afraid at this point
I have to give you my second favorite quote from you is after Mike Fernelli's, we'll say 35th, and I think it was a 35th birthday party. That makes sense mathematically. That you were making fun of his, I don't know if Mike Fernelli even listens. I'm so sorry, but I love him.
Sure he doesn't.
For the record, I love him.
Yeah, you were making fun of his birthday party, and you were like, you could smell the baby powder in the air.
But there are a lot of youngsters there. Everybody, if you don't understand,
I have a birthday coming up.
The sitters, you had something like the sitters were waiting upstairs to take the youth back, and you could smell the baby powder in the air. And it was absolutely priceless.
Oh my God! Well, if you don't know who has been with us, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Mr. Deon Brown.
I'm a big fan.
It's been a hunk of heaven.
I love it. Thank you, Deon. We will be back in just moments with. You have a closing statement, Deon?
I'll remember this as long as I can. And at moments like this, there's only 2 words that really mean anything. Thank you. I hope I'll be invited back.
We look forward to having you.
I'll campaign for you.
Oh my God, Deon Brown, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back. It's Thoughtful Vulgarity right now on the show, right here on Tuesday night.
And now, Thoughtful Vulgarity, where we, in the studio, try to make ourselves slightly less shallow, which is not hard to do. We will ask one question of the panel and have them try to answer it while fucked up drunk. Because you know at home how well it goes when an important question comes up 90 minutes after alcohol has been served. Politics, religion, why not? You're fucked up. What could possibly go wrong? Who could you offend? You've been warned. Good luck.
Does it matter? Deon's still making his unsanitary exit from the studio.
Unsanitary.
He's collecting stuff right and left.
She's a dripping napkin, really.
He's got a bag in Studio A. Don't forget that.
All right. Don't forget your purse, honey. Make good choices.
We've got to have him back. He's a good time.
Oh, he's always funny.
I knew that would work out well. I knew that would.
Well, I mean, I'm one of the last living members of his fan club.
Bye, Deon. Thank you,
Thank
City.
you, Harrison, for enjoying the size of a San Diego mission, because I've been saving that one up for a while. Well, I like this question. I think it's very interesting.
Okay.
And there's a part deux. Quelle Supre. There's this part 2.
I haven't figured that one out yet.
What was? Well, I'll try to make this the longest question possible.
Let's
so
stall
Katie
this
can come
until
back.
Katie can come in.
She knows part 1. What is the?
Are we locked in? Are we locked in?
We're locked.
Okay, good.
What was it about it, something that made it your favorite job, and what was it about something that made it the worst job?
I have a favorite job that was when I was 13, I started junior lifeguarding in the city of Peoria. I was on their summer swim team, and when I finally became 15, I think I was eligible for an employment. And I started working there, and I worked there from 15 up until 22. And I climbed the ranks, kind of. I was the little lifeguard and worked up and became the teacher and the assistant manager and then the pool manager, and I was kind of running the show. It was the best time of my life, and I went every summer. I came home from college and I worked at the pool. They were my best friends. I had the most incredible time, and the best thing about it is sometimes I would go, and I taught swimming lessons, and I loved children, and I had such a good time, but sometimes I would think to myself, like as everyone does, I'd go, fucking job.
Yeah.
Fuck this job. I hate working. And then I would snap into reality and say, wait a minute. I would look around and go, I'm swimming right now. I'm just swimming around in a pool. This doesn't suck.
Yeah.
This is the best job ever.
This doesn't
I am
suck.
literally I'm throwing dives off the diving board. And I think the best thing about it is that I worked at the city of Peoria when we were when the city of Peoria was like the city of name any small little town in any little state, right? Like a very small sister to Phoenix and Glendale and whatever else. And so we had one pool, and we could kind of just call the shots, and we had very little oversight. And so the lifeguards in the pool, we just ran it. We just ran our little show at our little hub and it was just it was wonderful. It was like the friendships, and we partied together afterwards, and we came and hung over together every day after the partying, and
as God intended.
It was literally
Al may have also had a job similar to that.
Yes, aka BS West. It was the best. And I literally said, if I could lifeguard forever, I was good at it. I really loved that city. I loved working for this city. I loved the Parks and Rec department, and if I could do that forever, I would do it. It was just the best.
And then the worst?
Oh God.
This is really I think this is a hard question for me.
I don't know.
Continue on.
Or what would make something a bad job? Like what would it be about a job that would make it not worth it?
I had a job, my first job out of college, that I went to when I was I felt like I was a hot shit. I was an advertising exec, bitches.
Is this the one where you drove all over the west side and went to Circle K's and took a leak?
No, that was the New Times. No.
Oh, okay.
This was
advertising.
I know, but that was advertising. This is my first job, and I'm graduating with an advertising degree, and I'm feeling very Mad Men, and I'm like, bitches, I got this. I'm about to rule this shit.
Yeah.
And I get a job where they actually called me, including the CEO, the keyword monkey. That's what they referred to me as.
Keyword monkey.
Keyword monkey. I was it was a search engine optimization firm, as thrilling as that sounds.
So you had to figure out what the keyword was.
And I did the keyword. So when you would type in, if you were looking for, I don't know, if you're looking for
happy hour in Phoenix.
If you're looking for happy hour in Phoenix, thank you. I was the person that sat behind the scenes and typed in. So if Apollo's was our client, I would be the one that would type in all of the keywords that could lead you to Apollo's website.
Oh my God. How old are you? Because you remember that, the Rosie O'Donnell show was type in keyword Rosie.
Right.
Yeah.
It wasn't hashtag, but you had to find something by putting in the keyword.
This was my first job. And actually, I'll tell you, one of my first clients, I remember one of my first clients. And see, that's the thing is, I was not the salesperson. I wish I would have been great, but I wasn't the account manager. I was the keyword monkey. I was literally sat in a closet, and they were like, "Here's the client." They would send it to me, and I would just have to create all of these keywords, figure it out, and just type this shit in a database. And one of our RussianRomanceTours.com was one of our clients. And I'm not kidding. LowerMyBills.com.
Literal Cal Supre.
Yes, Cal Supre. Cheers.
I got a literal usage out of that one.
Yes, Russian investors. LowerMyBills.com was another one, but it was like these right.
StopSpending.com.
Exactly.
It's your money. Get it when you need it.
I remember Russian romance tours, and some of the keywords that they had requested in their meetings with their account management, whatever it was, they would want keywords that were like Russian brides, like slutty Russian girls, like hot Russian ass. I'm not kidding you.
Hot
this is
Russian ass.
Yes.
From a male perspective, yes.
Yes. And this is what
Czechoslovakia is a good flavor too.
And so I used to laugh and laugh and laugh, and this was just my job. This is what I did. But I would
just
be
to remind your
in,
listeners, this is her worst job.
This is my worst job. But I would be typing in like slutty Russian bitch, like submissive Russian bride, so that so if someone typed in, because these were the thing that blew my mind is men were going online and typing in submissive Russian bride.
Okay.
And we wanted our website
to answer that query.
To be the first one.
You are
query. That's good.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Anyway, that job sucked, and I sat in a closet, and I knew it was over when one day my bosses came in and saw me on like the monster.com search
looking for another job.
I'm
Keyword
pretty sure
new job.
I was gonna say that. I was just gonna say that.
I think it said, "Dear God, new job," and I'm like this, and I'm just like, I'm in tears, and the door opens, and I look back, and I'm like, "Hey," and he goes, "Hey," and he looks exactly at my screen. It was over, pretty much. That was pretty much the ending point. Oops, but I was in a closet. Anyway, bad job.
Clayton.
That's funny. Well, there are a couple of jobs that do come to mind. One, I was still in, I was still in high school. This is in the late 80s in Tulsa. And I don't know if any of you remember, there was a place called Showbiz Pizza Place. It was an animatronic.
Oh my God, I love Showbiz.
Animatronic. It was a pizza place for kids. Had a lot of like arcade games, skee ball and all that. But they had the showroom that was called the Rockafire Explosion. It was the animatronic band that
Bears
played.
And the whole thing.
Billy Bob was the bear. Fats was the gorilla.
Wow.
Mitzi. It was I was fascinated.
I remember it well, Clayton, and I loved it.
We'll talk later.
Yeah, I'm seeing the delight on both your faces.
I actually still have the operator's manual to the show. I have it in a locked away home. Anyway, I was what was I? Well, junior in high school. So I worked at this pizza place. Now, again, we all understand I can't stand children. They drive me out the goddamn wall. Can't stand them. However, this was a pizza place where every Saturday and Sunday you did birthdays for these kids, and you did
whether you wanted to or not.
Right, you got paid for it. So I had, and the way that this was, it was Showbiz Pizza Place. So you had a little fake top hat and a little vest and everything. You're all dressed in black. You looked like you were an usher in a goddamn theater, like back when Streisand used to go to movies. So the deal was almost every hour, every 2 hours, you had a total birthday party with 25 to 30 kids, their parents. There was a show, yada yada yada. I actually had more fun because I was so condescending to everybody, to the parents, to all the kids. I didn't give a shit. But there was an actual interactive booth that I went, like where this window is. It was a one-way mirror. And I went into a booth and I could control one of the characters on stage. And I did the character voice and I interacted with them from stage. So the kids would stand at the stage, the base of it, and this character would talk to them. And made all their birthday wishes come through. I mean, these kids are like 5, 6, 7.
I
whatever.
am literally telling you that you were my idol at that point. If that was you, then
I will tell you stories when we're off air that will bore only us.
It was the best birthday parties ever.
That was enjoy. I totally enjoyed that from the standpoint of it was great. I got to do on the entertainment side of it. There was a technical aspect because the show was running and I knew how all the robots worked and how all that worked. That was phenomenal. I love that completely.
So cool.
I don't have a lot of bad jobs. The second job that I enjoyed that was also in Tulsa, Oklahoma, still in high school. I worked back drive-through of a McDonald's.
Oh Lord.
Oh.
So I was.
Tell us what that means.
Well, no, back drive. Okay, there's
window 2.
Right. No, window 1.
Yeah, where you take your depending on where you're standing, they take your money.
I took the order, took the money. So I was the one when you pulled up. I was like, "Welcome to McDonald's. Can I help you?" So I did my best to be whatever Casey Kasem, Rick Dees, Shadow Stevens I could do.
Shadow Stevens.
Right. So was that back when the McDLT was around.
Yeah.
So,
hot on one side, cold on the
other.
Ew. Right. I don't know what that is, but it sounds disgusting.
It was a sandwich that McDonald's did in the 80s that was literally, how their styrofoam things were like just a clamshell.
Yeah, right.
It was two-sided. So they would put the patty in one side that would remain warm, and they put the bun and the lettuce on the other side. So it was, like he said,
hot, cold side, cold.
Right.
And then you put them together when you got home and you made your sandwich. And the burger didn't get tepid because of the...
It failed.
I really am using some fancy.
I want my burger. When you're ordering from McDonald's, you're kind of ready for your tepid burger. I mean, you know what you're about to get.
So
lowered expectations.
So I enjoyed that job too, because every time somebody would come to the window, they're like, "Oh my God, it's the first time I've been here and I understood what you said. Would you like fries with that?
Oh my God,
would you like a chocolate shake?" I was very animated with that, so I enjoyed that.
It's hard to believe.
Let's fast forward. I graduated high school in June of '87.
Yeah.
And I moved back to my hometown, and I became, because I was looking for anything to fucking do, I became a ranch hand on a I forget what the hell they raised. It was anyway. There were horses and whatever it was,
and some other creature.
Some other creature. It was cattle. It was like it's called beefalo. They were the cross between buffaloes and cattle. There was a
Is that legal?
So this is the worst part of the job. I what I loved was I used to get to drive around on tractors and do things all the time and get paid for it. Well, there was a storm, and one of the horses got electrocuted from
cooked meat. I don't know. We're halfway home.
But so dead on the field. I had to pull the horse off of the field with a chain and a tractor. So that's probably a low point. I'm gonna go with.
And not free burgers at the end of that story.
We just pulled it off. And then there was there was a service that came and got it, and then we made Elmer's glue. So that was about the size of that.
Right.
Yeah, but that's that long ago. But I've been very lucky. I've had a lot of really great jobs. Every job has its shitty moments. All of them do.
I feel like you, Clayton. I haven't had really many
jobs
that I hated.
I mean, running, and you and I became affiliated because I had a wonderful job of running a bingo show at Hamburger Mary's Phoenix. How much fun was that?
A Hamburger Mary's would have been totally up there. Like, if lifeguarding wasn't my... Lifeguarding is my number one, but Hamburger Mary's
being a server at Mary's was number two.
And I know it's so silly to say that, but I graduated from college. I did the whole thing, and like I said, I lifeguarded throughout my high school and college career. And so when I got to young adulthood, and all of my friends were talking about, back when I was a server, because that's what everyone did in high school and college. You were just a server, and that was like what it. It's
part of the progression of life, I think, for the most part.
Totally is.
Right.
So
that's one of the weird things about the tipping thing, is because lesbians for some reason often miss that route. Gay men are more often go through
the service industry.
Lesbians for some reason, and I read somewhere what it is that they usually pursue. That's why the affinity for tipping.
But I never thought about that.
Way.
That's good.
I will have to say very, very quickly, Kelly hates that stereotype because she's always been a good tipper, and she always hates that. And surely there are women that are not.
Not all black people drink Hennessy.
Thank you.
But there are stereotypes.
And I do drink Hennessy, actually. But
I'm not a hairdresser. I mean, there are stereotypes.
A lot of reasons for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so
wait, I just want to say Hamburger Mary's was one of my favorite jobs of all time. It literally created some of my most long enduring,
a good time.
Adult lifetime friendships that will remain forever, that I would priceless.
We had a good time.
Yeah.
Somebody brought up the name of Gabby the other day, and I was like, I forgot about Gabby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, living times. In New York.
Yeah.
He was my best bestie at the time. We were like, I was like I had a very weird in love with him.
I can even say I had a crush on Gabby. He was
my God, I was in love.
I don't think I know him.
Let's go with
my favorite job was BS West. That was. And
you were on stage every night. You were there.
Yeah, I mean, and 2 nights a week there was
which is
thunderous
fitting
applause.
For you.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like,
you want that, and so do I, and so does Clayton.
But I'm not really someone who wants like that much attention. But it was fun to have.
If you listen back to 51 other episodes of the show,
I know. I'm looking at you going, like a little bit of attention at least.
Oh, right? No, a certain amount, and that sometimes was a little bit more like that, but so much fun. And the fact that like 2 nights a week out of 5, I sang, and like people just threw money at me while I sang, which was always the weirdest thing. And like learning,
Not weird.
and part of my job was learning songs,
good.
like always like working with people to like learn new songs or learn stuff. And then all the shows, all the parties, all the costumes that would come up.
Always something. Always.
There was just always something coming up. And some of the parties, like I just had no interest in. Like they did a water party the first year that I was like, I don't really get what we're doing here, and I missed it. And I was like, I am so sad I missed that. That looked like so much fun. And then the next year I took it over. Like, you know what I mean?
Shocker.
And then by year
that's surprising.
by year 4 it was World War Z. Like we had to actually cancel it because people had taken
Al had
water
made it
guns.
right. Oh,
No,
they would douse the bar.
Right. People had brought in water guns that were starting to hurt people.
I remember
Like,
this.
They had taken it
Oh,
too
like
far.
gigantic super sucker.
Right. They
big
would
times.
saturate the bar and everything was at risk.
Everything was covered in plastic. We had a hurricane fan, and we would bring in the hose from the patio and seriously spray a hose into the hurricane fan and just spray down the crowd.
Yes.
And it was in June, and the one time it was 117 outside, and Jason Carlton and I were in my car with the heat on because we were so cold. We had been wet in air conditioning for 12 solid hours, and we had to go sit in my car and turn the heat on because I could not stop
Your car
shivering.
is good for so many really random things. Yeah.
Oh, well, and these are old cars he doesn't even have anymore.
But I
Was
mean,
that the
Green car with the CD player.
it was one of them. It was one of many.
Or the Forenza.
But-
Forenza?
Yeah.
Which my cousin did have, by the way. That night when I texted her and I go, oh, I thought you had a Forenza. And she goes, oh, yes, that was it.
The
She
Oldsmobile
remembered,
Forenza
yeah.
car was so wonderful they had to stop making it.
Like
But
the
one
Fiero.
of the funniest things, there was, Molly's on Main. There's one, of
Molly's
the best,
on Main, yes.
one of the best Thai
I
restaurants, I
just
think.
was there like a few weeks ago.
I think it's one of Arizona's best restaurants. The client, the staff from there used to come into to BS West, and they didn't like me. I was that nasty bitch, and they would like avoid me at all costs.
What?
They just did not get what I was doing. So then we had, and the pictures the pictures surfaced this week. We did a white trash party, and we did bingo, and I hosted bingo. And we went, and I found this really funny wig that was called the Priscilla, and it was literally a margarine bucket.
That's
with
what that
hair
was?
wrapped
Amazing.
around a margarine bucket and turned into this giant 60s fall. And it came with a purple, and then I got a purple 60s dress and white go-go boots, and it was really funny. And
God, I want to see that
I
picture.
can't remember what.
Well, I'm going to bring it to you right now. Stand by.
Oh, there's
Thank you.
there's so many better ones from that night, but that's one of the funny ones with the baby. So then this guy that was supposed to be my like co-host, I think he was supposed to take. I was going to announce the numbers, but he was going to pull the balls out. Well, he shows up, and he was like the ugliest drag queen I've ever seen. Like, and he picked like this terrible frizzy wig.
Oh, that's the picture. Yes.
Yeah,
I have seen.
And
it.
I have a framed one in my
That
bed
is,
in my spare room.
And there's a
I
baby
mean,
in the
it's so
picture.
so bad. It's good.
So there was so much, like there's laundry. If you look at some of the pictures, we had laundry hanging. We had pickled pig's feet. We had like every white trash thing possible from all these pictures. They're going to surface. Fernelli said he's going to put some up. But I get forced, my co-host for this evening is the ugliest person I have ever seen in drag. So I'm looking around and I'm like, we have to make this work. Like, we got to find out something to do with this. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, the only woman I've ever seen as ugly as you is Yoko Ono. And he was like, what? I'm like, just work with me for this. So we went, and somebody had brought in like all these babies and had them in rags. So he grabbed a baby and I grabbed a baby, and his was Julian Lennon and mine was Lisa Marie, the precious daughter of the king.
Lord
and I was doing this fake Southern accent for no reason, and I would walk up to people and I'd be like, have you seen Lisa Marie? She is the precious daughter of the king. And then I would like take a drink and I would beat the baby's head on the table and be like, she's gonna inherit all the goddamn money. And I would walk away.
Oh my God.
So there's Yoko Ono with Julian Lennon trying to do the same thing, and like we were like screaming, "Hey Jude!" And we made his ugly costume so funny, and everyone loved that Yoko Ono and Priscilla Presley, the queens of white trash, were hosting bingo with the babies that were going to get all the money because they were divorced. I mean, we had everything about John
Well, the funny
Lennon
thing
wrong.
is, they're the queens of all of like rock and roll royalty, right
Yeah,
there. Yeah.
and the fact that he never left Yoko Ono, like,
No,
because
well,
we didn't know what the first wife's name was. We didn't know who Julian's father's.
He left her, unfortunately.
Yeah. But I mean, that was just an example. And at the end, the people from Molly's came
That's
over
a
and
good
they were
point.
like,
We don't know who Julian Lynn's mom is.
I can't remember
I
what
never
her
thought
name
about
was.
that.
So the people from Molly's came over and they were like, honest to God, they were like, that was seriously like a 4-hour character. Like
the best.
You committed to that. I'm like, because she's so ugly. Yeah. I don't know what to do with that. But I mean, that was the level that those, and Fernelli would just go with it. And Fernelli would just sit there and cringe in the corner like, I cannot believe you are beating a baby doll's head against the table. And not only are people laughing, but they're handing you cash. Like, it's
this
offensive.
Is great. Here's $5.
Here's $5. It was offensive. But I mean, it was in the friendships, and like we would all go home and would watch HBO, and we would all see like a movie, and the next day that's all we would talk about, like Freeway with Reese Witherspoon. Like it was just great friends, and we all made money. That small business fuck Walmart thing. Like we had insurance. Darren and Mike and Eddie got us.
Gave you all insurance. That's right.
We had health insurance. We had jobs. We had stability. We all made a lot of money, and we had so much fun working there.
I remember
for 10 years
when I came home from Nantucket after being away, and I didn't even go home. Like I didn't even drive to my parents' house. Like when where I was.
To the bar.
That was like my landing pad, and I was so excited to be home to like see my friends that I rolled into Mary's. My car was full to the brim of like all of my stuff.
Was that yellow thing you drove?
Yes.
What was that?
It was an Aveo.
Aveo,
it was
exactly.
like a 90, God only knows, 2000, God only knows, early 2000s Aveo. Bright yellow. Yeah. Kelly actually made me get rid of it.
Such a good car, they stopped making it.
Yeah. Kelly actually made me get rid of it because she was embarrassed. She's like, I don't want this.
It made all the other cars feel bad.
She goes, I don't want this in my driveway anymore. Let's go get you a big girl car.
A car so wonderful, we can't even keep it in the driveway.
We can't even keep it in the driveway. That's true. But I rolled into Mary's. I hadn't even told anyone necessarily that I was getting back. Like maybe Gabby was like, because he was my roommate, and so, I told him. But I pulled up and I walked indoors, and it was like I had never gone
left.
away.
Right.
And I loved that feeling, and I loved those friendships, and I just and those people that I met there. I mean, you and Gabby and Gary and Waylon, and through Justin Unga, and like some of these incredible
are still friends today.
I will be friends with from my life. And
though Mary's has been gone for years from Phoenix. Well,
it's like how you feel about Winx. Like those friends that you made in Winx, and the friends that you made in BS, and the friends I made at Mary's. I mean, like when you have that like really super intense time of your life when you're your bar going time or your bar working time, and you're young and you're like discovering who you are and who your friends are, and
to me it was not, though there were great times. To me it was I was so comfortable.
Yeah,
I had never been more comfortable than I was in that scenario with those friends and those people. I don't think I've ever been that comfortable ever. Nobody judged you, nobody called you out. You were just, and unless they called you out in jest. They were making fun of you.
Which added to the comfort, right? Because that's your friends, and
that's why we get so like when people are like, "Oh, it was so stuck up there." We were so much fun, and we would like everybody was in on the joke. We would get you just in on whatever we were doing, whatever stupid idea we had, and just join. You know what I mean? Like whatever this asshole idea is. One of the best parties was the first Studio 54 party, and I think I've talked about that here with the. We all brought in vinyl because Bella, the DJ, knew he could spin vinyl, and he knew it. So Eddie brought in his vinyl, I brought in vinyl, and we all had real disco.
Those are records for those of you listening.
Yeah. So we didn't cheat. Like, we didn't do anything on Studio 54 night. We didn't do, like, new 90s remixes to make everybody more comfortable. Like, you heard the original versions on vinyl. That's cool. And Bella spun for 4 hours, and the music just kept getting better and better, and we cleared off all the tables, and we put risers all over the bar. So all over the floor of the bar.
Like Mike will do a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, and that was
now it's all drag, but it used to be fun.
That was everybody's input. I mean, from Eddie with the old music, and he knew he had even more obscure 70s stuff, and Bella knowing how to spin it, and like Darren liking that. He knew that early 80s R&B, because you guys are the same age, right? You and Darren are the same age?
Yes, exactly.
He knew the early 80s, like the Shalimar, the SOS Band. He had all that stuff down.
Can I ask you a question about early 80s? So on RuPaul's Drag Race, Michelle Visage, did she write a song?
She was featured. Who is she? She was featured vocalist on. I can't remember the name of the song, but you're right. You go back there.
And
you can Google
that. They just did it like a couple weeks ago.
They just did it. Yeah, they just did it. They had a lip sync for the life.
And someone said that was Michelle Visage, but I'm sorry. When you were whatever you were saying, made me think of that. But that is her song.
I would encourage you to Google it and find out more about it specifically. But
please.
As I understand it, yes, she was lead vocal or somehow involved in whatever. And I couldn't even tell you the song. I watch it every week at Apollo's, but I don't pay that close of attention.
But we did, so just at that party, like me and Rob dressed up as Mary and Rhoda. I was Rhoda, he was Mary Tyler Moore, Darren was in this pimp outfit, and the music would not stop. Awesome. And I would be at someone's table, and I would be like, you gotta carry me, you gotta just keep my cash caddy here, take whatever drinks you need to. I gotta go dance.
Dance.
It was seriously like Bonnie Pointer, Heaven Must Have Sent You, like just stop the show. Like people were like waiting for a drink for like maybe when the 7-minute song ends.
Yes. All right. Well, we are. It's 9:45. We are coming up at the end of hour 3. But before we get into our real question from Al, we have to go into what we call the Dr. Drew's Death Den.
Dr. Drew's Death Den. We are all losers. Everybody dies,
we're horrible.
We suck at this
Are there
game.
more candy left?
Yeah. I have no one new to contribute to this board because I think these are all winners.
Likewise, but apparently we are losers.
We are rough.
We suck at this game.
Valerie Harper,
still alive.
Ted Nugent with the bullet. Tick tock. April's almost over, fucker.
No, was this his month? He said I'm either dead or in jail.
And Marnie knew a date. The cast of 2020, although I have to tell you, in a Death Watch update, Barbara Walters, there is now a handrail to get her up to the platform to sit.
Shut up!
I know, I noticed it today.
Oh my God.
I didn't see it on Monday's show, but it was on today. Queen of England, Betty Windsor as I like to call her, still kicking. Nelson Mandela. And a doctor friend of mine, when we were talking about Nelson Mandela a couple weeks ago, she took a trip. She went to South Africa this week.
Okay.
Because I had
to
told her that.
Check on him?
Well, kind of like to be there in case something happened. So she's on a personal death watch. Nancy Reagan or Babs Bush, Kirk Douglas, Muhammad Ali, Karen Black. How is she not dead? Taylor Swift is always on there. We did get Disney darlings last week.
Well, Annette Funicello passed away. Yeah. But I'm like, I would have never thought of Pat Summerall or the lovely and talented Jonathan Winters.
I seriously thought he died of shame right after Mork and Mindy ended.
No, not with mirth.
Everyone brings up their jump the shark moments for TV shows. I think that is the worst. And I know he's a comic genius or people liked him or something. No. I think that is the biggest jump the shark moment on any TV show. Mork and Mindy went from hysterically funny to like, I couldn't even like sit through whole episodes.
They were dying They were dying in the ratings. That was 82.
Yeah, that's how you jump the shark, is when you make a choice like that instead of going away. That's what jump the shark means.
Right,
well, except for Fonzie literally did jump the shark on the episode.
How did we jump the shark? What did we do?
Oh, just Jonathan Winters and Mork and Mindy. It almost ruined my childhood.
It's totally sensible.
Now, what's unfortunate about that pairing is that obviously Robin Williams totally admired, and like Jonathan Winters was a god to him. Unfortunately, that was the scenario they were linked up in, but the two of them together, hysterically funny.
Oh, I never thought they were like.
I think they're great.
I never even cracked a smile, and
Wait, at who? At Jonathan Winters and who?
He came on Mork and Mindy as
Mirth.
As Mork and Mindy's son, who aged backwards. He was born an old man.
Born an adult, but had a 6-year-old personality. So the idea of the character was his body would become less and less, and at one point it
was the amazing Benjamin Buttons.
Benjamin Button, right? Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. The questionable case of why is Benjamin Button being nominated for an Oscar.
I just remember always seeing Jonathan Winters on TV because I thought he was funny. Period.
Yeah, and from what I learned about his style, because I have had it out for this man. That's why I thought he was dead, because I thought I killed him. Because to me, he took one of the funniest shows that was ever on TV and made the most awful season of television I've ever suffered through. And I think about episode 6, I finally was like, I can't endure this anymore. It's so not funny.
Oh, of Mork and Mindy?
Oh, I hated him.
Is he a midget?
I hated him.
No, he wasn't a midget.
No.
Really? Katie, are you asking that question?
No, but I mean, aside from that, I knew nothing. Because I disliked him so much as a. What year did you say he went on there?
82, I think, is the last
I was like
season.
15. Oh, but my hate knew no bounds for that man. I thought he was horrible. But then, as I was reading his obituary
here of him with.
That he was manic depressive. Probably they would have diagnosed him as bipolar now, and he had that same Robin Williams style of comedy. So as I was reading about him, I'm like, well, that would have seemed like a logical choice. Here was this beloved comic from the 60s and 70s that Jack Parr was asked to describe, like, who are the 25 funniest people in comedy, and he said Jonathan Winters, like, because he did that whole that whole shtick of like all these personalities. And I'm like, oh my God, I wish I had been exposed to him in some other way besides that god awful Mork and Mindy shit.
Now, were you not exposed for during It's a Mad World?
Yeah, but I just focus on Ethel Merman. Like,
but he drove. Oh, but the scenes where he's driving her in that tow truck in that fucking movie.
Yeah, I remember that movie being funny.
Funny.
But any fondness I had for him
Maude
died around
on the Dean Martin show when he does. I just loved him.
Yeah, I didn't see a lot of the Dean Martin show, but that I really did. Like my dislike for that man knew no bounds.
We are in the final 9 minutes. I need
Serious.
You know what's funny is I always thought that Shelley and Jonathan were related.
I did too. And I love her, so I was like, God, I hope that's not her son or something.
No.
Because I got to take the pin out of the voodoo doll if it is.
They were old enough to be brother and sister.
Yeah, maybe brother and sister.
Anyway, what's our question for our thoughtful vulgarity? Because we got 9 minutes.
Vulgarity. Now this one is interesting to me.
All right.
Maybe not to you.
Not to the rest of us or listeners.
But I like this one. Right. Would you rather have a panic attack while 75 feet up in a tree you have just climbed, or while swimming 100 yards out in the ocean?
Tree. Done.
I say tree.
I mine is the ocean. Like I would absolutely die in the top of that tree. They would.
What? You would rather be randomly 75, whatever that was, feet, miles, however many feet.
Oh, 100 yards out in the ocean. Yes.
Guess you're not going to climb 75 feet anywhere, really, or miles. So 75 feet in the ocean, sharks could get you.
I'd eat me. I can't be like, I cannot, like when I hike, I don't care how high I hike, but at a certain point when it's time to turn around and go down, the panic sets in, and then I'm afraid of helicopters, so you can't evac me out of there either, because that fucker's going to crash. So mine is ocean. Because at some point you just sink peacefully.
No, you don't. Sharks will eat you.
That's okay, but hopefully I'll drown first.
That is horrifying. Have you ever seen Open Water, the movie? Because it makes me want to commit suicide just watching the movie. Really, it's that bad.
Nothing happens in that movie, though.
I've never seen any movies.
They're being surrounded by sharks, and they have to make the conscious choice to take off the air tank and sink themselves and be eaten alive by sharks.
I know.
Horrifying. Never. I would every single day be stuck in the bottom of a tree for the rest of my life.
Why would you ever let go of your air tank? I don't understand that.
Oh, it is a very intense movie.
It's really awful.
And it's a very important, because I travel alone. I've traveled alone to Hawaii twice now. I go on snorkeling
and
tours.
I snorkel, yeah.
And me and the captain, we're like
oh,
this.
My God.
You will notice if I'm gone.
You better believe I say, don't fucking leave me. You look in my eyes. I need to be on this boat before you leave. I said the same thing.
Wow.
Yep.
Oh my God. This movie is very, very scary. People getting left in the ocean is what it's about.
Got it.
This is a good one. I didn't see this one on this card. What? Would you rather marry a whiner or a bully?
Ew.
Well, I've already dated the bully.
I thought that too.
A whiner, you can kind of slap him around and shut him up. A bully, you just get, it's just, no, it's night. No, it's day. No, it's night. No, it's day. I'm done with that. I've been down that road.
I think I would have to say bully.
I know, me too.
It's a little bit, I would just
It's a little challenging, but
it's still challenging, but
you got somebody to rumble with.
But I don't know, I look a little bit more at like, okay, if Kelly and I are going up against a business, for example, that we feel did us wrong, right? I want Kelly to, and she does,
to have your back.
Yeah, I want her to stand up and be tough and be sexy and like take charge.
Sure.
Or against another person that has done me wrong, or
Agreed.
if we're out, I want her, and not that she's by no means a bully, but I want someone who's going to stand up for me and stand up for our family and stand up for us. I don't want someone that's going to be a whine and stand up for herself, and she does.
Yeah.
And I would just be grossed out. Well, like if a partner was like, whiny bitch, no.
Part A to my answer is 8 weeks later they would find the body of the whiner because I'd fucking kill them.
There's
that's really that's an intense answer.
Off microphone, I'll tell you about the whiner that I know that I can't believe is still alive.
Oh.
And then
join us for hour 4.
I know.
Apparently. I honestly can't stand it. But the bully, we'll get it done. I'll bully you back. I'm not afraid of you.
Yeah, exactly.
But so part B was really if I say to you guys right now, where do you want to go for dinner? I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to make a decision. If you're still at humming and hawing, then I made it. Then we're going for Chinese food. I'll tell you where we're going.
And I feel good about that.
I'm good for Fez if y'all want to go.
Yeah, we're going. I'm starving.
Okay. We're going.
I couldn't eat earlier because of the stomach issues, but now
we can.
Starving.
And I feel good about that. Like if someone says to me, where do you want to go? I'm either going to give you here's where I want, or I don't care because it's fine.
Right.
Tell me where you want to go. But I don't, whiny, bitchy, and a partner.
Yeah, nuh-uh.
Don't be a pussy.
Harrison says the bully. I could always use a good fight. Yeah, bully for Molly too.
Yeah.
Here. Okay, so this one: work long hours and hardly see your family, or see them more but not be able to financially support them. That's. I mean, I think that's every woman's dilemma, according to The View.
Right.
But I don't know. I think that's.
I work a ton of hours. No. Here's the sad part of this. I work all the time. I really do. I mean, some people think I have an easier, simple little life. I constantly run all the time, and I know you all do too. Granted, you are not only a married woman, but you have a child. So I would never dismiss the fact that you don't have a full-time job.
Oh yeah, no, and I
know Al's restaurant keeps him busy, and aside from having lunch with me on an occasional Monday, but I work all the time and still could not financially support my family, meaning my mom. I mean, I could never absorb that. So I just keep working.
Yeah.
I would just keep working. That's all.
And your family could be yourself. Like if you can't, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be a group of people. If you're,
I can support myself, but I that's all I know. All I know is run, work. That's all I know.
Right.
I think I'm the same way. Which
is why I think sometimes you're so like pissy about people that are like taking a day off and relaxing.
Oh, you lay in bed all day? Oh my God, Jason Carlton bought a fucking tablet. Now he doesn't have to get out of bed to watch TV.
See, but I think that's why that pisses you off because you don't like.
But he works for the tablet.
No, he does, and I get it. And it is a running joke between he and I. But he texts me, he goes, "I bought a new toy. I have a tablet." So I walk in, he's laying in his bed, wrapped in a blanket under a ceiling fan. The TV's on with cable that we pay for, and he's playing with his tablet. And I'm like, you never have to leave this room. And he does it, and he loves it.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic. I get that.
And you know, Mark, I don't know if he's still listening, but Mark Martinez is the same thing. Like, he can't stop and enjoy that pool. Like, when it's Monday, and he's like, oh, I got to get the dogs done this. This has to be done. This has to be done. This has to be done. And I'm like... Or you could just take the fucking day off and relax.
Occasionally, liquor gets in my way, and I find out that I can stop and smell the roses, like we did for lunch yesterday.
Right, but that's his too. If you don't drag him to lunch and get him trashed. So the last question is, and this is funny: would you rather be gossiped? People were gossiping about you, or found out that no one talked about you at all?
Oh, gossip all day long. All day long.
Yeah, Harrison.
Thank you, Harrison. That's all day, every day.
Harrison puts, I don't really like my family, so I'll take the money. But
I would rather people talk shit about me all the time or gossip about me versus being totally irrelevant.
Indifferent, because the opposite of love isn't hate; it's indifference.
Yeah.
So, that's one of the best lines from Cheers. Diane says the opposite of love isn't hate; it's indifference, and Carla goes, so.
Deon Brown sent me a text that he wants to give all of the internet fans in the world his love. Thank you for being part of the show. Thank you, Deon, for being part of us.
Thank you.
We will leave you with this. We will see you next Tuesday.
You're listening to The Show on Q Talk America.